businesses that are right there off of I-80. There's businesses behind that, I believe there's a bakery back there. There's an ambulance. Pomp's Tire there is right in front. They've got semis coming in and out all the time. You got that pipe outfit right there. That's a huge business. You see their semis parked out in front every day. So if I find it hard to believe that legally Highland, Indiana can just say, you know what, we're just shutting this road down. I mean, that would be about as up, even though they're not in Highland, that would, I think, be one of the
Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, Bob.
That's how we start the show here on Bob and Chuck Friday.
Oh, is that what we're calling it?
No, that is definitely not what we're calling it. Good morning, Northwest Indiana. It is Bob and Chuck. Brent is out today, but we're not calling it Region Rundown, but it's also not Spring Chuckin', the Monday show. So it is just two dudes in a studio. Here on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, 6 o'clock here in rustic Hammond, Indiana, also streaming live on the YouTubes.
I mainly just came in to confuse Joe. Joe came in, he's like, is it Monday?
Is it Monday?
Did I sleep all weekend?
Well, you don't know, man.
Normally,
I'm needing to catch up.
Normally, I'm here about 45 minutes before showtime, and here I come stumbling in. And
I said, I will join you on a Friday with one rule. I will not do a show with the South Shore behind me on the screen. Other than that, I'm good game for anything. It is 6:01 in the region. It is Friday. You did not sleep through the weekend. We're mixing it up a little bit. This is not a new show.
No, not a new show.
Because we're out of graphics. We don't have enough room on the graphics machine to make yet another graphic for yet another show. Let's take a first look at traffic and weather, and then we will get you caught up on all of the things going on in the world, and maybe bring some peace to the world. You never know.
Peace.
Or maybe we'll just cause some more problems, as we tend to do. Taking a look at traffic, things are looking absolutely swimmingly. Is it swimmingly? Things are looking swimmingly here in the region. 80, 94, 65, Skyway, Toll Road, everything looking good. Nothing to report. Same with Chicago. You have a tiny, tiny little slowdown. Dan Ryan into the circle. Bishop Ford looking good. 80, 394, 294, all the 94s looking good. Everything looking good if you're going on at the airports. There's absolutely nothing going on at the moment, and of course that can change on a dime. If it does, you know the number, 219-845-1100 if there's something we should know about. And with the weather, Mr. Joe.
All right. So the weather is looking pretty warm out. It was warm when we left this morning. It's going to be a high of 74 and a real feel of 73. But be wary, there are some thunderstorm warnings heading into the afternoon. Saturday to start off your weekend, the rain will dry, but the temperature will drop. It'll be a high of 54 and a real feel of 55 with just a couple clouds. Sunday is going to be much of the same. However, the temperature will go back up with a high of 68 and a real feel of 71. So that's your weather for the rest of the week. Enjoy.
I think I will enjoy.
Thank you.
I think we've got a great show today.
Do you?
No, I just said I think it.
Okay.
I don't know that there's, if that's going to translate through the tower waves. But we've got 7:30. We've got Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith calling in, zooming in.
Hang on. You got to learn how to set things up better. So here. Let's
tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them, and then tell them what you've told them.
You do something like this, like it's Apology Friday here on WJOB.
He's not going to call in now.
No, who said he's I'm apologizing. We're going to be apologizing for everything that we've said over the last couple of weeks. And if anybody else would like to join us and apologize for anything else going on.
I think on the advice of...
on the advice of counsel?
Yeah, on the advice of counsel.
He's just going to plead the fifth?
Last week, I think I started an 8:15 apology minute where I apologize for things that I said, didn't say, implied, thought... And, we accept your letters.
We got to be more like The View. I don't know if I used to watch the View when I was stuck in New Jersey, and it'd be the whole first segment. They just came out of the gate making stuff up, and then they spent the next 45 minutes. Like, our lawyers would like us to apologize for everything we said in the last segment. We've been told that none of that is true. Like, but again, everybody just kind of tunes out. They're like, okay, well, I listened to the first segment, and they leave.
Well, and have you ever seen? Well, of course, you've all seen this where. A newspaper, I'm not talking about any local one, I'm just saying in general, they'll just throw something out because it's fun to be the first one out.
Right.
And then the retraction, redaction, re-imaging of their story is 10 pages down, just a little tiny corner that said, oh, by the way, the article on April 1st, A1, was completely wrong, and we apologize.
Well, and that's the thing, is that they put stuff out, and then, so let's say they wrote an article about you. You'd call them and go, hey, that's not accurate. All these things are wrong. And they go, okay, you're right. We'll put it on page 26. We'll clarify everything. I mean, again, but that's how the media works. Is sort of like you have this salacious headline, and because we know that statistically most people don't read past the headline of the first couple of paragraphs. So one of the things I've always told people, I said, if you're trying to get the real story, you got to work backwards. Like, if you're only going to read one paragraph, read the last one, because that's usually where the truth is buried. They're like, hey, here's our salacious opinion on this, and oh, by the way, the last paragraph is here's what really happened. So I don't know what do you guys do on Friday? I mean, I listen. You guys talk about barbecue a lot, and that's fine.
At Doc's Barbecue, 1420 Calumet Avenue.
Yeah, you guys talk about barbecue.
That is Brent is not listening. He's just not here today.
He might listen sometime. He might come back in.
But what I will say is,
shout out.
There are very few Pavlovian responses that are just you can always count on. And I think if you ever see Brent walking down an aisle at the grocery store, if you just yell Doc's Barbecue, his reaction is 1420 Calumet Avenue, Dyer, Indiana.
Well, that's branding. That's how it's supposed to work.
So you didn't set it up, the apology thing. You started to set it. You said, hey, Bob, you don't know how to set things up, and I
also get sidetracked too. That's why I need a sidekick to keep me on target. But okay, so the lieutenant governor's coming in. We originally invited him to talk about his latest controversy, but that was about 4 or 5 controversies ago. So we originally were going to talk about the Velpo controversy, and now there's been several more controversies. But again, I want to manage expectations and say, he's an adult. He's a lieutenant governor. He's going to come on. Everybody's messaging me saying, make him talk about this. Make him talk about that. I can't make anybody talk about anything. I'm going to have him come on. I'm going to say, let's talk about what happened at Velpo. And if there's anything else, like people are asking me about this, this, and this, if you want to talk about it, you're here. If you don't, great. It's all I can do, right? I mean, like the last thing I want to do is be like an ambush journalist where it's like, hey, come in and talk about puppies, and then let's talk about all these other things. It's like, so I'm not going to be an ambush journalist. So just setting the expectations now of Lieutenant Governor's going to call in, and we're going to talk about what's going on. And I can't force him to talk about something he doesn't. I can't force him to apologize for something that he doesn't want to apologize. We can't force him to do anything.
Well, what I've always appreciated, and I've had this conversation with him, so I'm not speaking out of turn. I don't, First off, I don't agree with everything that any one person out there says, but
Sure.
what I've always appreciated is his willingness to come on here. He's come on our show at the old studio here.
Our album cover, I call it.
Yeah, several times, and he's one of those politicians that I've not seen any fear to answer questions.
Right. Well, and that's sort of what I want to get into is this idea that so many people call politicians phony because they give those political answers. I'm sure that's something that you guys take a class in or something where it's like, here's how to dodge a question.
We do.
But,
as soon as you sign up, they
right,
take us into a room.
Yeah. But so that's the point, though, is that every once in a while you get a guy, I mean, again, kind of like how President Trump does it, where it's kind of like, hey, he's going to give you an answer, whether you like it or not. And then everybody's outraged. Like, you'd much rather have a phony that gives you a political answer than, when you actually hear an answer from somebody that you don't agree with, you go, oh, I'm outraged. It's like, yeah, well, that's how it's supposed to work. Everybody's not supposed to just, agree on everything, and that's what makes this country great. Is that we used to be able to have opinions. You used to be allowed to have opinions, and talk about it. But now, and that's one of the things that's going to come out of like Velpo is people are literally saying, no, the lieutenant governor is not allowed to have that opinion. Not allowed to have that opinion. My opinion is right, his is wrong, and he's not allowed to have that opinion. Somebody told me that in one of the comment sections, and that's what we'll get into that with him. But in the meantime, we're taking your phone calls 219-845-1100. Don't call in and ask us what happened in Vegas, because you know why, Bob?
What happens in Vegas gets broadcast several days later on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM here in Rustic, Hammond, Indiana.
Here's all I will say is there was a WJOB delegation that went to NAB in Vegas. Nobody in the room currently did go to the Gentlemen's Club.
Ooh, that is actually correct.
That is actually correct. Nobody, and Joe's like, I didn't, like, no. Of the WJOB delegation, the people in this room did not go to the Gentlemen's Club, and it's not going to be on their expense report.
No, but are we going to do that?
I don't know. It depends on if he shows up or not. Maybe save it for Monday.
Okay.
We have our expense reports for Jim.
Yes.
He's like, I hope this doesn't cost too much.
So
wait, so you guys went to Vegas for WJOB?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're going to buy a station there.
Yeah.
KJOB.
I saw Bob yesterday, actually, and I asked him, I was like, how's Vegas? Did you have a good time? And all he said was, yeah.
Yeah.
I got no elaboration from him.
Well, I didn't want to waste good content on just Joe.
You're like, I'm not wasting content on you. You have to tune in on my show.
There's so little of it to begin with.
I say that on Facebook all the time. Like, you just have to tune in. Like, we'll save it for Monday.
Yeah.
Like, call in.
Someone wants to know why we're not talking about puppies.
We can. We absolutely, because it'll probably outrage somebody.
Oh my gosh!
Here.
Oh, the cat community is furious
because I'm a cat guy. There you go. Be outraged. There you go. There's an article. Oh, Chuck's a cat guy. No, I'm a cat guy.
You do seem like a cat guy.
I absolutely am.
Like if you were an animal, I could see Chuck just like.
Yeah.
I am a cat.
One of those cats that don't actually like to cuddle with their humans or anything.
Oh,
like
I know.
That.
Just
no. Look,
just in
the
their
superiority
their
complex.
Higher, yeah.
Here's why I'm a cat.
And now the dog folks are like, dogs love people too.
No, because here's why I'm a cat guy. Because I'm not going to be that guy that's going to be barked at 4 a.m. to go for a walk. My cats just kind of lay there and chill out. And one of the things about certain animals is like cats, for instance, they don't just come up and slobber on every stranger they know. Like cats, you have to earn their respect. And like in my household, like even like we have like. What? No, you have to earn their respect. Like even my fish and our oxalotl, like they look at me like, hey, that's that guy that feeds us and takes care of us.
Oh, wait, just you're starting to name off multiple pets, and I don't want you to hit that magic number where your municipality
we had an interesting discussion
knocks on your door
in Vegas because we were talking about Bob's love of chickens. And so, like, we were talking about this idea that municipalities have rules that say you can only have, like, as many animals as people, or you can I'm like, well, what about my fish? Like, people have ponds. Like, you can go out there and count them. Like, but without government. Like, somebody's going to go count the number of fish in the pond and go, oh, you got too many fish. Like, yes, we get it. You can't have, like, 8 horses in a neighborhood, but, you have to delineate a little bit. But where are we? Yeah, cats. So anyway, yeah, no, cats are good because they all have little unique personalities. But you have to earn their love and affection. You can't just throw a treat at them and they slobber all over you. But That's why I appreciate cabs.
Speaking of Vegas. No, so we clearly did not. I mean, look at us. We spent our time walking and eating.
Right.
You find any good places?
That last night, the Capitol Grill, right across from Encore.
Right.
I really enjoyed that. That was a very good steak. That was a good meal.
They're halfway through the new Hard Rock, so there's like half a guitar just when you drive down the strip.
It looks like
right
a fishbowl.
It looks like it looks like a giant fishbowl. Like, what are they building? Is that like a new? No, it's supposed to be a guitar. But it was funny because we got there at during WrestleMania, so there was like all these Danhausen dudes walking around, everybody painted faces and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know nothing about wrestling, but I mean, obviously all these guys had giant belts and stuff. I kind of figured it out pretty quickly that they were in town for wrestling.
It was either wrestling or a rodeo.
Yes. But yeah, no, that was fun because, we went to this really authentic sort of Mexican place right by the convention center. They have amazing tacos and they have all kinds of stuff. And we were just in line with all these dudes wearing, wrestling shirts and dressed up like Danhausen stuff. Is it Danhausen? Is that how you say it? I was
You're looking
told
at me, dude.
I'm saying it wrong. It's not Danhausen. It's Danhausen. No idea. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I try to sound cool. Try to be topical. But yeah, we were in town with the WrestleManias and the Raws and stuff. So a lot of wrestling fans in town.
What about the Sphere? Were you guys in there? The Sphere?
We did not. Fish was in town that weekend, and I heard it was not a great show. They're like, it's an okay show. But then they're showing The Wizard of Oz, so we could have gone, but I'm also cheap. I'm like, look, I already complain when I spend $20 going to the regular movie theater. I'm not going to spend $150 to go watch Wizard of Oz in a giant ball.
We could just put that on the expense report.
Bob's like, let's go. He's like, Jim will not care. He's like, spend $300, and then the popcorn's like another $80. But no, if I'm going to go see it, I'm not going to go see it.
I feel like I'm worth it.
Yeah. It's not like, just think of it as your salary or something too, right? Something we pay you guys.
15 years of back salary.
Yeah, starting with popcorn.
You've worked here 15 years. You can go see a movie now. I'm like, thanks, Jim.
So, we got anything else to talk about Vegas?
No, I don't think we're supposed to. So, I mean, we can. But no, it was a good conference. I always enjoy it. I go every few years. We see sort of the latest in broadcast gear and stuff like that. So it's basically, I know there's a few people in the comments section the other day, well, like, why are the old white guys going? It's like, well, because I find those things interesting. Like, Joe, like if I took you to like a giant Radio Shack, would you be like, oh, this is like, imagine spending 12 hours at a Radio Shack.
No, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably learn a thing or two, but I don't know if I'd
but if you don't know what you're looking at, it's kind of like if I go to a car show, I'm like, those are shiny cars. And then people are like, there's a 440 6-second something in there. I'm like, so many horsepowers, and look at the torque. Like, that is fantastic.
Look at the torque.
The green one has torque.
Look at yeah. So now I'm just thinking brake light fluid.
Blinker fluid.
It was a huge conference, convention, whatever you want to call it. Everybody knows that I'm a big Disney buff. We go a couple times a year. There's massive walking that. Towards the end of the first day that we were there, I got an alert on my watch that said, congratulations, you've hit an all-time high on your steps or whatever. Each day, I walked about 2.5 miles more than I ever walk when I'm at Magic Kingdom. And I don't know how that happened, but Apple surely wouldn't lie to me. So
that should be the sell. It's like, hey, you can come with us, but you're going to walk approximately 5 miles.
No,
but, that's just in the convention. But
oh yeah, I think I don't want to have dead air right now, but I
told you to. There was.
I want to say it was.
It came up.
10 miles one day, 11 miles the next day. It was an insane amount of walking. But yeah, it was a good time. I learned that when I was there, we weren't maybe a third of the way through. My first thought was, I want to completely redesign the studio. And I said that several times, and Chuck had to keep reminding me that we have no money for that.
Well, I just kept saying we can't. I would just walk past the booth, so we can't afford that.
There were several times, and Jim, we have to be careful. That was the second time we mentioned his name. If we do it a third time, he appears like Beetlejuice. That you would see my gaze shift to some new contraption, and you would just say, "Don't look at it. Keep walking."
Like you don't want to know how much that costs.
And yeah. So
my favorite thing that happened that you guys weren't even there for was that I was at a booth and a guy walked up from the Bears, Because he's like, he can't post. So a guy walked up from the Bears. I'm like, I got to talk to you. And then I was trying to get Bob to come over. And I'm like, hey, I do radio in Hammond. I want to take a picture with you. He was like, no, you can't post it anywhere. So I was like, I was going to do a bit where I was like, hey, we're negotiating with the Bears in Vegas. And he's like, no, we can't do that. So I can't take a picture with me.
But to spin that in a faux journalistic way, you can say that you had a conversation I
had a meeting with top men at the Bears
at a Vegas convention for broadcasting
at a convention,
and that is technically true.
It's absolutely true. So that's the best kind of true, is the technically true.
Yeah, the technically true bits. So Vegas was a lot of fun.
But all that to say, we have no idea what's going on in the region because we were tied up there for a few days. So
I do want to say, someone in the chat said,
I don't care. I don't care.
Well, that's why you're over there.
Right. I don't look at the chat. I don't care.
So
they can come in here if they want to talk to me.
He said, how's the traffic on 30? I always keep 511in.org. 511in.org up. That's traffic-wise. And you can see everything, 30, 231. It really gets down into the...
It's very granular.
And into the local region roads. But it wasn't the traffic today on 30 that's going to be something. I do want to...
I think that was a setup. Okay. Now I see what you guys are doing.
See?
Why don't you save it for after? You like tune in after the break, and we'll tell you all about the traffic problems that my town are creating for you.
My town is not creating anything.
You should put a Bob sign where people are stuck in traffic, just waving at them.
just waving. We'll talk about that here at right after the break that we're going to take right now. We'll get to your phone calls at 219-845-1100, and we will talk about the mess on Route 30 starting on Monday.
And I am your Lake County Treasurer. Your Treasurer's Office is responsible for the collection of over $1 billion per year in money that belongs to you, the taxpayer. I am asking you for your support and vote on Tuesday, May 5, as I seek re-election to this very important financial office. For public service and not self-service, please remember me, John Patalis, for your Lake County Treasurer. Paid for by the committee to elect John Patalis.
My name is Jason Gore, and I'm asking for your vote to be Lake County's next sheriff. I was born, raised, started the family, and worked my nearly 30-year career in law enforcement, both as a local police officer and as an ATF agent, all here in Lake County. I promise to lead differently, restore the public's trust in the Sheriff's Department, and to build a world-class police organization that is focused on serving you. In this election, Lake County residents have a different choice.
State Senator Dan Darnell was supposed to be different. He promised to fight for Hoosier families and stand with President Trump. He failed. Darnell voted against President Trump's agenda in Washington. That hurt Hoosier families, and he voted to let a Chinese company buy Hoosier farmland, putting China before us. Dan Darnell, opposing Trump, voting like a liberal, letting us down. A disgrace.
President Trump has endorsed conservative Trevor DeVries for state senate, a real Republican who will fight for Hoosier values. Trevor DeVries will stand with Trump, protect Hoosier farmland from China, defeat the liberal agenda, and never let you down. A true America First conservative. The right choice for Indiana. Endorsed by Trump, Trevor DeVries for state senate. Election day is May 5th. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
I've spent more than 2 decades protecting the people of Lake County as a patrol officer, canine handler, detective, and now chief of police. I know what it takes to keep our neighborhoods safe, support our local police departments, and hold the sheriff's office to the highest standards. As your sheriff, I'll focus on strong training, crime prevention, and real partnerships with the communities we serve. I'm Stephen Flores. I'm ready to be a working sheriff you can trust, and I approve this message.
I'm Jerry Williams. For over 35 years, I protected Lake County as a state trooper and interim police chief of Gary. This is my home, and keeping our community safe has been my life's work. I've dedicated my career to fighting crime. Now I'm running for sheriff to get the job done and deliver real results. As a crime fighter, not a politician, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Jerry Williams for sheriff.
Hi, my name is John Patalis, and I am your Lake County Treasurer. Your Treasurer's Office is responsible for the collection of over $1 billion per year in money that belongs to you, the taxpayer. I am asking you for your support and vote on Tuesday, May 5, as I seek re-election to this very important financial office. For public service and not self-service, please remember me, John Patalis, for your Lake County Treasurer. Paid for by the committee to elect John Patalis.
Welcome back. It is 6:23 in the region.
6:24 now.
No, it's 6:23.
Don't go by that clock. It's wrong. Now it's 6:24.
Well, if we argue about this for another minute, it'll be 6:25 here in the region.
It's 6:25 now.
Okay.
So you got a big announcement coming up at 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock, yes, for the town of Dyer, we are going to announce the Summerfest lineup, and I'm very excited about it because it's not something that this is the 35th year that Dyer has had our Summerfest. A lot of you folks, if you've ever been there, it's there's carnivals, food, vendors, live music for 4 days. It's a lot of fun. But this year we've been able to partner with a few folks and bring a few national acts in, and so we're going to announce those at 8 o'clock today. So stick around for that. We've got Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith at 7:30.
Will he be playing at Summerfest?
Yes.
That's
the big announcement.
He's announcing the creation of a bluegrass band, and he will be playing the steel guitar.
Ooh. He had a post where he was playing piano like
I saw
6
that.
hours ago, and I'm thinking, dude, you got to rest up. You're on the radio in the morning.
Maybe he can play us off. He can play himself in the break today.
We can.
Okay, so we got phone calls. Yeah, he says we got some phone calls.
Well,
so,
hang on.
Yeah.
Let me get back to the Route 30 thing. So
okay, that's right. We got to remember to go back to the things we tease. That's right.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of Vegas, no. If you guys are watching YouTube in the chat, someone said, hey, what about Route 30? Again, you can find that traffic stuff on 511in.org. If something does pop up, I keep it on my screen. I'll let you know. Otherwise, aside from the stoplights, it's fine. Route 30 in Dyer at the train tracks between one of the 700 speedways and Kaler Middle School. Starting on Monday, Route 30 will be closed for up to 7 days. That's going to be, I don't want to say a disaster because I'm supposed to be, hey, you're elected from Dyer, and it's supposed to be positive.
But just start off by saying you have no control over this.
There is absolutely zero local control over what happens. First off, Route 30, whenever NDOT decides to do something on Route 30, we are very grateful. Thank you very much. When they notify us that they're going to do something, that's
the best you could hope for is a heads up that they're going to close the road.
But to take it one step further, if you think dealing with NDOT is tough, the railroads do whatever they want, whenever they want. We had asked them, look, school is out. They're going to be working right next to the school. It's just going to jam up the buses to come and go. And we said, look, can you maybe start 4 weeks later when school's out? Nope. April 27th, I think starting at 6 or 7 in the morning, they're going to shut down Route 30 for a week right at state line. So
this is...
And now,
go ahead.
One thing. So previously, when they redid these tracks, I don't know, 25 years ago, they brought it in segments. So they could just shut down one side and you still have some traffic going through there. They're not doing that this time. They're bringing in one entire new crossing set in one piece, and the entire road is going to be closed. So 30, starting on Monday morning, will be closed. Find alternates.
That's cool.
Well, that's cool.
Joe, what did you do?
So sorry, one of
It's
our
like I unplugged the lights to plug in my cell phone. I had to charge my cell phone.
yeah.
Okay.
So yes, 30 is going to be just so
For 7 days.
For 7 days,
It's that's 2 tracks. There's 2 tracks over. Is that basically a 5-lane road?
yes.
In China or like Germany, they could build an entire like railroad bridge in 7 days.
Oh,
they can
yeah.
build one in 2 days. Here's the reality, and this is why I can never be like a town councilman. This is about an 8-hour project. Let's be. I mean, honestly, I know my railroads. This is an 8 to 12-hour project. They can do it in one overnight if they cared to. They have panel sections. Everything's basically pre-made. This is a 12-hour project that they're dragging out over 7 days. And if I was a town council, I'm not giving anybody advice. If I was a town councilman in a town affected by this, I would basically bring in a bobcat at 5 o'clock every night and just dump a bunch of, cold patch in the hole and say, you guys are done. It's 5 o'clock. The road's open until you come back in the morning. You're going to spend an hour. We're going to drop some cold patch. We're going to put some rubber mats down. We're going to open this road up because you guys are going to be working like 3 hours a day on this. And to your point, there's absolutely no reason that the entire road needs to be closed. You could do 2 panels. You could do 2.5 lanes at a time. It's just obnoxiously egregious that it would take 7 days to do something that we should be able to do in about 8 hours. I mean, no joke. It's an 8-hour project. Like, no joke.
Well, I think one of the most frustrating things, again, first dealing with INDOT, and then the next worst boss in this side quest of being on the town council is then the railroads. They do whatever they want, whenever they want, zero input, and we had this, maybe in 2019, they were replacing a handful of crossings along Sheffield Avenue. It was 2 days before the election, 3 days before the election, and they just start ripping and getting and closing off entire sections of the town where there was that corner of that northwest corner of Dyer where they then had to go up through Munster and back down to get there. And they don't care. Everybody blames the local guys. They don't listen to us. They don't really care. INDOT had closed Route 30 for a while, a lane here or there. Nobody was working. We tried to move barrels just to say, hey, there's no work going on. Can we just move some of the barrels so that way not having a lane closed on 30 is beneficial to everyone. Nobody's working. And they said, nope, leave the barrels there. And we said, look, we will bring in our public works guys early in the morning to put them back for you. We'll have them stay late and push them. Nope.
I'm going to ask Micah to put me in charge of INDOT. What do you think? I'm going to propose that. I want to be in charge of INDOT. And then he'll be like, well, what are your qualifications? I'm like, absolutely nothing. I have no qualifications whatsoever to be in charge of INDOT. That's why I'd be perfect at it.
Sold.
Done. And that's what we should try. When he runs for governor, not that he's going to announce, but when he does, I'm going to ask him if he'll put me in charge of INDOT. Is that a lot? Is that like a payola, plugola if we do that?
Yeah.
Pay for play? Why don't we take some phone calls?
Let's do
that. Take some phone calls, Joe?
It's a half hour into the show.
We might as well. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
We're good, sir. How are you?
Well, I don't want to talk about Vegas, but I was just wondering, because of the wonderful government shutdown, TSA not getting paid, did you guys walk, fly, drive, or take bike trails out there? But if you flew, how was it going in and out of the airports?
We were both physically accosted by TSA.
Do you have the pictures? I forgot. I was very disappointed because I had my government would not recommend T-shirt, and then the guy's like, "I have to pat you down." I go, "Hang on, let me take my sweater off because I need Bob to get a picture of me being accosted with my anti-government T-shirt because that's what I normally wear at the airport." No, it was surprisingly light. There was no issues because we can follow directions. Although Bob got yelled at a couple times, like, "Why didn't you take your belt off?" Well, you didn't tell me. But no, we cooperated fully, and we did not. It took us like 3 minutes to pass through security, because we didn't go to a spring break destination and we weren't surrounded by a bunch of hungover children that don't know how to, take their flip-flops off. So it was relatively painless. Bob's one of those, like, we need to get to the airport 4 hours early. And then we literally got there. We got through security in 3 minutes. And I was like, what are we going to, I'm like, I'm going to get a drink now because we're here 2 hours early for no reason. I'm the guy that shows up 45 minutes beforehand and it just walks right in.
I have issues with TSA. I think it's a.
It's because you tweeted at them and now you're flagged.
Every time I go through I don't tweet much, but every couple of years I tweet it's hey, nothing like a little essay from the TSA.
Anyway, what's going on, sir? How are you this morning?
Nothing but you could have, instead of eating all kind of food you said you were. You could have ate White Castles.
No, they closed it. They closed the White
No.
Castle. They closed it.
Yeah, but you could have saved money, and then that way, when you brought the money back, the owner of the station could have paid the producers some more money, so they wouldn't have to leave and look for another job.
No, I specifically told him. I said, take our reimbursements out of Joe's paycheck. I said, Joe said he can go a week, but no, actually, to your point, White Castle has announced they're going to launch 1,000 vending kiosks across the country. So you can get a White Castle kiosk. I hope maybe we put one here. Like that'd be fun.
That'd be
fantastic. You guys put one at your new amphitheater.
Oh, we could.
Yeah.
Now, that Brett's not in the studio with Bob, so I'm going to talk something about barbecue sauce because you brought it up. Doc's Smokehouse.
1420 Calumet Avenue, Dyer, Indiana.
He's probably going to hunt me down after I say this, but I mean, nothing against, Doc's is a good place, but largely developed, barbecue sauce was not brought by Texans or us. It was developed
Kansas
by
City.
enslaved Americans.
Oh, really? Okay.
Influenced by the Caribbean Native Americans and European, Spanish, Germans. So,
and you just mentioned like half of the world.
Yeah. Like everybody gets it. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like that. Did you ever hear that joke, Trucker Mike, about A1 sauce? It's like there we were in the middle. There we were in the middle of the Civil War, and this guy's like, you know what? We need a new steak sauce. But actually, it was used to cover up the nasty rancid meat that was being served. But
I was thinking when Brett's walking down the aisle and somebody says Smokehouse there by the barbecue, I says, yeah. Let's thank the enslaved Africans and influence, that we have great barbecue sauce in America,
I did not know that.
But
very cool.
Did you check out any bike trails, walk trails out that way?
Oh yeah, that's all I did. Yeah,
we did the loop.
Do up there?
We did everything that was anti-public transportation. We took the Elon Loop underneath the convention center. I rode on the monorail. We used Ubers. We used everything we could to avoid public transportation.
Yeah, and one thing good while you guys were gone, how Jed runs the radio station, he kept everything in Northwest Indiana just running right on his time schedule,
Yeah, he does that.
But, welcome back, you guys,
Hey, did you fix your battery? Did you change your smoke detector? I haven't heard it chirp yet. Beep. Oh, there you go.
Yes. Because that day that happened was every year when spring forward, I always change that thing, Now, I don't know how to change my battery and me. I think I got one of those, like, energizers that keeps ticking and, and it just, when it gets gone, it's gone, But, no, everything, I do that kind of thing. But, it was wonderful. Jed kept everything kind of in order and tried to keep everything on time, running on time in Northwest Indiana, So you guys are lucky, You didn't have to put up with him for being on here. But
speaking of that, Bob will have to put up with him on Monday. So tune in on Monday as Bob puts up with Jim.
It'll be fine.
But all you guys have a good day, safe day. Welcome back. Like welcome back, Cotter. Blah blah blah. But you guys all have a nice, safe day, and, just keep apologizing for something you didn't do.
I'm just going to start proactively apologizing. How about that? It's like, I'm going to apologize for what I'm going to say next week.
All right. Well,
thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You got another call? Yeah, let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
The Catholic bishop. Any influence on him on the status of St. Joseph Catholic Church in Dyer?
Are you can you speak on any of that yet? No comment.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it other than they had there's a group of parishioners that are attempting to save St. Joe Church in some form or fashion. I believe their main goal is to keep it open as a Catholic church. So there's some internal laws and protocols that once a decree is made, the parishioners have some time to arbitrate that. I'm no good with Catholic law. They held a meeting the night that we got back, so I didn't attend. I don't know what happened there. I believe they're forming a nonprofit group to, if the church does end up closing that, to attempt to maintain it, but that will be extremely costly. They just replaced the roof, and I think that was $1.5 million between the roof and the steeple. So I don't know what's going on with St. Joe. It's I think I said this before on the radio. If there is a skyline of Dyer, certainly the St. Joe Church is a part of that. It is in a historic preservation district that Dyer has, but that sounds like it has more teeth than it really does. For the most part, it just adds a layer of government in there. If you were going to do any exterior facade changes, the historic and architectural group would take a look at that. But aside from that, I don't know. There seems to be. I really don't want to use the word conspiracy theories, but there are some theories that look, this has been, shall I say, ordained for some time, and it's just been a slow process to close that through some type of consolidation that they're doing. But as to where they're at, I don't know. But they do have I will say this: getting people to show up for really anything is tough. That's one thing I've learned on the town council. If there are 5 people that show up to a meeting in a month, we almost think, wow, this is some type of an emergency, because people just are not. They don't participate in their local community. And my understanding is there was 50 or 60 folks that came out to this latest meeting at St. Joe. So they seem to be organized. And
but obviously, I mean, again, this is a continuing trend. And I know, Walt, you come from East Chicago. Our home church was Immaculate Conception, which closed many years ago, and St. Stan's closing. I mean, it's just sort of a trend in the Catholic Church. And they're having trouble recruiting new priests and nuns, and a lot of the older folks, people just aren't going to Latin Mass at 5 a.m. anymore for some reason. And it just sort of, you know what I mean? Like I used to be the altar boy at the Polish Mass at 5 a.m. at St. Stan's, and there was 5 people there back then, I mean, it just, the times they are changing. But so what else is on your mind, Walt?
Well, here's a piece out of the Times. AI rendered Kilmer debuts in trailer. Speaking of Las Vegas, the filmmaker is behind As Deep as the Grave, the indie film that is using an artificial intelligence rendered version of Val Kilmer in a prominent role. Debuted at a first look at the recreated actor Wednesday at CinemaCon in Las Vegas. How do you feel about AI in the movies?
We miss CinemaCon. Well, So, I mean, it's an interesting thing that it becomes, for a lot of these actors, it becomes this question of, like, who owns you? I was watching something the other day, and they were talking about, the Michael Jackson hologram kind of stuff, where it's sort of like, well, who owns the rights to that? Should we be making movies where we bring back, Michael Jackson or Humphrey Bogart or something like that? I mean, I guess that becomes a big question is, what does that mean? Or even the idea of there are actors now that are basically signing their rights away, where it's, hey, you pay the studio X number of dollars, you go into this, green screen, we record your voice, we get your emotions, and now we can own you in perpetuity. You know what I mean? And I guess we see now that there are people that are doing that for nefarious purposes on the internet. I see these commercials where, Joe Rogan is selling supplements on the, on YouTube, and it's clearly not him. So, I mean, again, it's a very concerning time. And so one of the things I've said, I was saying this in the last election, I said, this is probably the last election where we know everything's real, because can you imagine in the next couple of elections, half the stuff that's going to come out against politicians, they're going to say, no, even President Trump's already said, no, that's AI. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you're going to have people running for office and somebody's going to say, hey, here's a video of you 20 years ago. And everybody's going to say that's AI. And what are we going to do? Are we, that's it really, I was talking to somebody at the conference and we sort of agreed about how the idea that AI is basically poisoning the well. AI is basically going to poison the well and then draw from the well. And we're going to end up with this feedback loop that's basically going to destroy the internet. I mean, that's my take, is we're going to have such a polluted internet because of AI nonsense that it's going to make everything on the internet basically just irrelevant. And I mean, we're going to see that if not even in my lifetime, we will see that in the next couple of years.
We need a new internet.
We will need a real human internet that AI is not allowed. Like there's basically like a brick wall, like no AI allowed. But even now you have AI, what was it like that? Like Claude and stuff. You have AI talking to AI and they create languages where we don't even know what they're saying. So, I mean, again, a lot of these people, there's a lot of discussion at the conference about AI being used to automate things. Obviously, the goal is to automate processes in broadcast, AI cameras, AI editors, AI producers on a morning show. Just saying, Joe, they want to replace you with AI. But that's what they think the future is. And, most people that are paying attention are saying it's growing too big too fast.
Well, Kilmer is best known probably about the movie Top Gun,
right,
dealing with naval aviation. He played the pilot named Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
And, by the way, I heard recently that Tom Cruise is going to make a Top Gun 3. How about that?
So long as they keep making money. That's something. So they keep recreating these these movies that just have a built-in fan base.
Right.
So not only do they have no new ideas, but now that they are going to use all the, you had mentioned, okay, so what if they bring back Humphrey Bogart? So not only are we not ever going to get any new ideas, we're not ever going to get any new actors.
Well, the Top Gun 3 is just going to be
Humphrey Bogart.
No, Tom Cruise sitting in an office in Nevada flying a drone. It's just him in an office for an hour and a half going, yep, okay, target acquired.
And occasionally they catch him running because he has one of the most wildest runs.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I do like Tom Cruise movies.
Okay. Not a fan. But, Walt, anything else on your mind? And we got to take a break and get ready for...
Yeah, narcissism. We Americans are best known for being narcissistic.
Mm-hmm.
That's a common attack that, especially the Democrats. I mean, they're the worst narcissists, but they make it into an accusation. This is out of the latest edition of Science Focus magazines put out by the British. I'm a subscriber. What do you think is the most narcissistic country in the world?
Absolutely, France.
The number one narcissist.
Yeah,
Germany.
France. Germany. Well, close enough. But I can see that.
Least narcissistic country, Serbia.
Okay.
The most individualistic country is Sweden.
Okay.
And most collectivist, Senegal.
I was going to say California, but
most individualistic is full of Scandinavian countries. That's where America appears. There's only one category that's mentioned where the United States is mentioned. That is we're individualistic,
right?
And that includes Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Norway, Finland, Netherlands, Japan, U.S., France, Australia.
Very interesting.
You know many narcissistic people? that you'd like to
in this
I
room?
I drive on the Dan Ryan every morning, Walt. I see plenty of, as you know, I mean, you never see more selfish people than when you're driving on Chicago roads. I always joke, only in Chicago can they turn like a 2-lane road into a 5-lane road because everybody's more important than the person next to them. I mean, you just really, you really lose faith in humanity driving in a major city, because you just see like people just have, they have no respect for each other. And that's why my goal is to stay away from major cities as much as possible. But yeah, no, I mean, again, we absolutely have a narcissism problem in this country, and everybody, there's a difference between individualism, where like as a libertarian, I can say I obviously care about my rights and the rights of the people I know, but I also care about other people's rights as well. It's not, I care about me, but forget you. It's like, I want everybody to have the same rights. I want everybody to be successful, because one of the things that I understand as a functioning adult is that if I want to be happy, I have to keep you happy. Right. I mean, it's sort of the thing. It's like, that's great if you have abundance of food, but if your neighbor's starving, guess what? He's always gonna be looking over, you have to look over your shoulder, because your neighbor is going to want what you have. So, I mean, that's sort of the thing, is that in a perfect, in a perfect functioning society, everybody has their needs met, so that you don't have to worry about somebody breaking into your house to steal stuff from you and what have you. So, but that's not how things work.
You're very optimistic.
I know. I try.
Socialism tells the same story, but most socialistic parts of this country, high crime. How about that?
Right. No, exactly. So, but hey, we do have to take a break. Walt, I appreciate it. You have a great weekend. And we will catch up with you next week. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more after this.
I'm Jerry Williams. For over 35 years, I protected Lake County as a state trooper and interim police chief of Gary. This is my home, and keeping our community safe has been my life's work. I've dedicated my career to fighting crime. Now I'm running for sheriff to get the job done and deliver real results. As a crime fighter, not a politician, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Jerry Williams for sheriff.
My name is Jason Gore, and I'm asking for your vote to be Lake County's next sheriff. I was born, raised, started the family, and worked my nearly 30-year career in law enforcement, both as a local police officer and as an ATF agent, all here in Lake County. I promise to lead differently, restore the public's trust in the Sheriff's Department, and to build a world-class police organization that is focused on serving you. In this election, Lake County residents have a different choice.
I spent more than 2 decades protecting the people of Lake County as a patrol officer, canine handler, detective, and now chief of police. I know what it takes to keep our neighborhoods safe, support our local police departments, and hold the sheriff's office to the highest standards. As your sheriff, I'll focus on strong training, crime prevention, and real partnerships with the communities we serve. I'm Stephen Flores. I'm ready to be a working sheriff you can trust, and I approve this message.
My name is Jason Gore, and I'm asking for your vote to be Lake County's next sheriff. I was born, raised, started the family, and worked my nearly 30-year career in law enforcement, both as a local police officer and as an ATF agent, all here in Lake County. I promise to lead differently, restore the public's trust in the Sheriff's Department, and to build a world-class police organization that is focused on serving you. In this election, Lake County residents have a different choice.
I'm Jerry Williams. For over 35 years, I protected Lake County as a state trooper and interim police chief of Gary. This is my home, and keeping our community safe has been my life's work. I've dedicated my career to fighting crime. Now I'm running for sheriff to get the job done and deliver real results. As a crime fighter, not a politician, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Jerry Williams for sheriff.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
.52 here in the region.
Hi, Chuck.
You did not sleep until Monday. I am here on a Friday. This is what are we calling this? Did we decide yet?
No, there's nothing. We have one placard on the YouTubes. We have one behind us.
I think we called it. I like the Region Rampage. I think that's solid.
That's a good one. Hey, let's do traffic and weather.
Okay, Jim. That because he's listening. That's why you're like, okay, we got to do traffic.
Just trying to keep it on the rails for you there, Jim.
Okay, so there's no traffic
on the South Shore rails.
Okay, so let's take a look at traffic here in Indiana. Everything looking good. 8094 Skyway Toll Road 65. Everything looking good. On the Illinois side, Bishop Ford into the Dan Ryan is heavy. Dan Ryan on in is decent until you get, towards whatever we call the Sox Park these days. So you have a little slowdown into the merger and then a little slowdown downtown.
The last time I said the merger, Jim...
He didn't get the joke.
He burst in here.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
That's why I'm going to keep pushing him until he's like, okay, I'm here. 294, 394, all the 94 is looking good. Everything looking good. Route 30 looking fantastic until Monday morning.
It's going to be a disaster.
Don't blame Bob.
Don't blame me. I had nothing to do with it.
Why don't you guys put up signs that just say it's Dyer has signs? Just put it up. It's like it's not our fault.
Well,
just do it.
I only have so much sway in the town. You need to have at least 3 votes to get anything done. Democracy. But when INDOT was shutting down 30 a year or so ago, I said, I want signs out there that says, you know how every time that they're picking up a leaf anywhere in the county, it's like brought to you by all these commissioners. I said, I want a sign like that for whenever there's a project in town that we have no control over because, again, I don't know. But
no, I think didn't I send you that thing? I mean, your campaign can just buy a board and then just park it in somebody's yard along like here. Yeah, you just buy one of those. And then just put it up, sponsored by Bob.
My campaign by that, I run for town council in Dyer. That's there's like $48 in the account.
We'll put it on a payment plan. I don't know what to tell you. Yes, you guys should put up signs like this sponsored by IDOT, not our idea. This could have been done in 8 hours.
Yep.
This closed road could have been an email. Do we have calls?
No, but we do have weather.
We do have.
Do
both.
the weather. Yeah, do that.
So I'll make it quick. All right, so it's Friday, and we're going to have some nice weather with a high of 74 and a real feel of 73, at least early. As the day gets later, we're going to have some thunderstorm showers, so be wary of that. And then as the weekend starts, Saturday is going to be a high of 54 and a real feel of 55, just a couple of clouds. And then Sunday is going to be very much the same as far as just a little clouds and a lot of sun, but the temperature will go up with a high of 68 and a real feel of 71. That's your weather. And do we want to go straight into calls?
Yeah,
Sure.
Let's do that. Good morning, caller. You were on the air.
Now you're on the air.
Yeah, I got a little traffic for you. I've been all the way from Dyer to Porter County this morning, and at the Dyer Munster station, there's plenty of parking. You don't got to worry about parking. There's plenty of spots.
The Munster
Miller
station? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Miller Station, plenty of parking. As a matter of fact, one parking lot's completely empty. Ogden Dunes, plenty of parking, people, so you ain't got to worry about parking this morning at any of the train stations.
Let me check and see if they have any delays this morning. No delays as of yet. It's always surprising.
Hey, Chuck,
go ahead.
You talk about conspiracy theories. Remember the big Unite the Right protest and the white supremacists that took over Charleston and caused all the trouble? Remember that?
Yeah, and I think the only way you do that is to get some money.
Well, I say, as it turns out, you paid for that. What I mean, this is like one of those, at a certain point, Bob had mentioned conspiracy theorists earlier. At a certain point, you just sort of roll your eyes and go, yeah, we told you 10 years ago, nobody listened. I mean, I was joking earlier.
Do that in your Alex Jones voice.
Yeah, he hit that one right on the head, didn't he, Chuck?
Chuck doesn't want to get sued, so he's not going to say it. But to your point, yeah, he seemed to be right on that one.
Well,
yeah, and how come nobody gets arrested? What is the problem with us here?
Well, there is an indictment, and I mean, again, this becomes one of those things where it has to become a federal case where now you've got wire fraud charges and things like that. So I we can get into that a little bit in the next hour because I think it's really interesting. But this is again one of those stories where some of us have been saying, hey, yeah, this has been going on for years. And then the other half is saying, no, you're just picking on people. It's not a crime. What are they saying on the internet? That basically all they're doing is they're paying informants. It's like, no, you are funding. It's sort of like, I'm going to digress for a second. Years ago, I was going to a Dave Matthews concert at Wrigley Field. There was it's like a 2-day Dave. So we were there one night and we were there, like we met on the corner in front of a bar. The very next night, a guy put a bomb in the garbage can that I was standing next to the day before. And then we find out what? We find out that the FBI, was involved, and they were the ones that gave him the bomb and convinced him to do it and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like that Michigan plot where it's like, oh, by the way, half the people that kidnapped the governor, actually were feds. At a certain point, you go, wait, what's that joke? Are we the baddies? It's like at a certain point, if, I even go back to, everybody knows I'm a big DeLorean fan. When you ever watch the video of John DeLorean, where he's basically sitting in a hotel room and they're like, hey, John, here's some cocaine. Like, okay. We want, we have a bunch of cocaine to sell. Okay. And finally, he literally just goes, okay, I'm in. And then they arrest him. It's like, well, this is classic. As soon as the judge saw the video, like, this is entrapment. You know what I mean? Like we constantly have this federal government that's getting people, it's clear entrapment. And, at the end of the day, you find out not only are you paying for it, the federal government's behind all these bad ideas. They're the ones that are pushing the bad ideas on. It's like at a certain point, it just becomes comical. It's like, how am I paying for all that? How am I paying for both sides of this?
Oh, how about this, Chuck? How about the lady that was running for president of the United States is warning the whole country, the white supremacists never forget Charleston and the Unite the Right. This is what's going to happen to this country. And it's their prized little little organization funding it.
Well, somebody made the point with President Biden is that he came out and said, that certain people are the most dangerous, and then they couldn't find the data to corroborate that. So he's like, well, pay for it then. I mean, do what we need to do to make this thing happen. And again, it's like one of those, if something's happening, it's very difficult. Somebody was talking, I was listening to a podcast yesterday and the guy was talking about, he's like, think about, Juicy Smollett and Bubba Wallace and all this stuff. It's like, if you guys, you're crying wolf far too often here for us to take you seriously. And then when there are actual things that take place that involve hate crimes, we're all just going to roll our eyes and go, yeah, sure, we've seen how this plays out. And that's the unfortunate thing is, when there actually is a hate crime, nobody's going to believe it. They're going to go, yeah, whatever. I mean, and that's the problem is that when you cry wolf too many times, we just sort of go, okay, okay, then good luck with that, and that's the problem. Like if this is a real issue, you shouldn't have to make it up over and over again. It's 7 o'clock in the region. Goes to AM 1230. Hang on. 7 o'clock goes to AM 1230, 104.7 FM, beautiful Hammond, Indiana. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, my whole point being, what a joke, and nobody is ever held accountable. What a joke. You lie to people's faces and just get away with it. That's all they do.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that
get away with it.
You are going to, I inherently question everything as it is. All you're doing is just creating layers of us going, no, we don't trust you. I don't care. I mean, I was listening to something else the other day, and we were talking about, obviously there's a lot of discussion now about disclosure. I like watching, like on the plane, I was watching, 3 hours of stuff, discussions about alien disclosure and stuff like that. It's like the president could come out tomorrow and go, hey, by the way, we've got the files here. Aliens are real. Half this country would go, no, we don't believe you. You know what I mean? Like at this point,
that was the meme about it over the weekend was, hey, there's aliens. And like, yeah, that's nice. What about those Epstein files?
Yeah. What about the taxes? But that's what I'm saying, is that we are so divided right now that President Trump could come out and go, hey, yeah, we're releasing the Kennedy files. Here's who was involved. And they go, yeah, we don't believe you. I mean, that's the problem, is that we are so divided right now that nobody would believe anything the other side says. And, or even now it's like, we don't, you release the Epstein files or whatever. Like I wouldn't believe either side at this point, because they both had so many years to manipulate the Epstein files. I wouldn't believe any of it that came out. So,
oh yeah, come on, are you going to all the paper? Like, how hard is it for them people to just put whatever they want and say, "Here's a piece of paper, believe it"?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's 20 years of no chain of custody. I remember like that thing where, we had the Washington feds flying up to New York to basically. They were basically subpoenaing themselves. It's like we investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong. It's like, who's in charge here? I mean, again, it's like the
FBI was hiding the files from the FBI.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like we subpoenaed ourselves, we investigated ourselves, and found we did nothing wrong. I mean, again, like what a mess you've created. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to me sitting there, like, hey, it's tax time, and I just look at my taxes and go, no, I don't want to do this. Like none of you deserve a dime of my money or anybody else's. Like, you guys are far too ridiculously incompetent to deserve a dime of my money. Like, I just sit there and just stare at my taxes and go, no, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to give you guys any of my money, because I've seen how you spend it.
Amen.
Okay, well, hey, we do have to take a break,
show,
Joe.
guys.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, again, it just gets comical. You get to a point where it's like, I've seen this rerun before. I don't trust any of you. I've seen how you spend my money. I want no part of it. So, Joe, you want to take a break or going to take calls? What are you going to do? Are you going to take calls? Okay.
We got a lot of calls.
Okay, let's take a call. Good morning, caller, in the air. Good morning, caller.
So while you guys were in Vegas, did you learn anything about how to make better content for this radio station?
No, we were
Not a thing, right?
We were in a call, and they're like, whatever you do, take Mad Max calls as often as possible. That was their advice: is find the guy that texts you in all caps and take his call on a regular basis.
Good Lord, man. You guys, you're like the guys who are worried about how the Big Mac gets made behind the wall. I don't care. I want a reasonably priced, great tasting Big Mac. Whether you got a 2-foot-tall kid who's 13 years old from China chained to a hamburger stand, or whether it's done by AI, I don't care. I just want a good product at a reasonable price.
Okay, to your point then.
Is zero of my concern.
Go back 20 years or 25 years when Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan was in the Big Mac commercial showing off what a Big Mac used to look like.
Which one, Jordan or Jackson?
I don't know, both of them.
Do you have any idea what the hell you're talking about?
No, why don't you come in and do the show then? Because clearly I don't. But I'm saying, why don't you look at a Big Mac from the 80s and look at a Big Mac from today and look where we've gone. And then think about you're like, I don't care.
Great. They look the same.
No, they do not. Today's Big Mac is half the size. It's a cheeseburger from the 80s. It looks disgusting. And again, it's only going to get worse.
When's the last time you got a Big Mac, Chuck?
In 1984? No, I mean, I've seen the commercial. I've seen them. I've seen them. They're disgusting. But my point is, like, these are the compromises that we make.
They're awesome.
No, they are not. They're pink slime. I have not eaten one since I found out that McDonald's is like, hey, we just we make our burgers out of leftover pulp that we put through a processor. Like, no, I want an actual burger. This is why I go to places like Big Frank's and Doc's, because I know my neighbors are not trying to feed me pink slime. That they're actually buying. Stan sends me pictures of how much food costs. He actually goes to the store and buys real food, and that's what I'm eating. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not eating something out of a machine.
Well, apparently it's not helping your physique at all.
Okay, I mean, we can have that. When's that?
On a plane, do you want to have that stretched out a little?
Let's have that triathlon. When's that triathlon? You and I we'll go for a race.
A Big Mac once every 4 months is not the end of the world.
Okay.
All right, quick question for Bob. regarding this closing of all these churches, did the church ever address this to the actual parishioners who support this? And did they ever go, hey, Mr. Bishop, can you not take all that money and send it over to all these foreign countries, particularly the ones with that fake religion of Muslim jihadi, whatever they got? Can we keep a little money here to keep our parishes alive?
Here,
Did they ever ask us?
I know you're asking Bob,
at all?
but I want to chime. I mean, think about this.
Yeah,
though.
I'm definitely
No,
asking
think
Bob.
about this though.
Yeah,
Look.
yeah.
Here's the thing. At any point, the Vatican can go in the basement, pull out the chronovisor, take a look at the future stock market, invest money in the stock market, and make enough money to keep these churches open if they wanted to. I mean, look, that's the reality. They have the coronavirus in the basement.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt that's true.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It has nothing. Right? Yeah, they have a but the point is
Well,
though.
now,
They
hold
can't,
on. You can say that, but the minute I say Building 7, you tense up.
Okay, I'm just saying, but that's real though. The Vatican has a chronovisor.
So, Bob, what's the Chuck? You don't even go to church, do you?
He does.
My wife makes me go.
The answer is no. So, Bob, what is the deal though? Did they ever talk to the parishioners about this?
To be honest with you, I don't know. And here's why I'm going to say I don't know, because I hear yes and no from both sides. And so not being there, that is the last place that I want to wade into. I am not a practicing Catholic. I'm not a parishioner of either.
I'm going to just step right over this and ask, why is it your problem? Because separation of church and state. Like, why is it even your problem to deal with?
There is no separation of church and state.
Because he's a human being.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, there's
in religion.
Would you, going back to if this was any other business, if the Wendy's was closing, would you go, oh, we have to have a meeting and decide how to save the Wendy's? Like, no, it's not his job. Like, it's his own thing. Like, it literally is.
I'm not asking Bob as a politician. I'm asking Bob as a father and as a community member,
Father Bob,
who had mentioned
maybe that'll
the
be your
closing
thing
of churches. That's why I was asking.
I really would.
And if you knew anything, Chuck, I'd ask you too.
I have never for living in Dyer forever. I don't know that I've ever been into St. Joe's Church. I would hate to see it not be a Catholic church. It's been a staple of the community for I want to say 130 years, something like that. So it's been there. It's a staple. They have. They have a huge following. Like I said earlier, the fact that they are getting 50, 60 people each time that they're meeting is really impressive, especially when you understand what it takes to get people in the community involved or interested in anything. I would hate to see it close, but again, I don't know any of the math behind it. Now, do they have copious amounts of money to just keep things open? I mean, to Chuck's point, if the Wendy's, you brought up the Wendy's closing over there. At some point, if there's not money in it to keep it going, they close the Wendy's down. So I don't know if this is that. And maybe I should be more informed on it, but I can't know every church in town.
Separation of church and state is not your problem. I mean, it's not your problem to treat them any different than any other business. Sorry. Like, that's it.
What the hell are you talking about, Chuck? It's a church. It's not a business, you blockhead.
It is a business. It's a business of church. Go to Joel Osteen. Tell me that it's not a business. I mean, seriously. Like
Joe Osteen is not a church.
He
that
is.
is a business.
He has a tax exempt status. He's a church. I mean, how he's not? He's a church. What's the difference? But again, why is it?
Well, I'm not worried about that.
I don't want Bob or any other politician playing favorites and going, let's save this church and not that church, or let's save this church and not save the Wendy's.
I'm not asking Bob the politician. I'm asking Bob a living human being in the city of Dyer.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when a nice building gets closed down.
Do yourselves a favor.
Maybe it'll become a nail salon.
Write this down. Go buy the book Ball of Confusion, written by the world-famous and incredible lawyer Andrew McCarthy. Ball of Confusion. It's a difficult book to read. It's in small print.
It's probably confusing.
And it lays out everything. Yeah, what did I say? Ball of Collusion, right?
I use it
I just said
confusion, but I mean,
bad.
it's
Yeah,
now you're confusing us.
It's called Ball of Collusion.
Collusion, not confusion.
My bad.
Collusion.
Collusion. My
Sounds like a
bad.
book you would write.
Apologize.
Okay.
But it's a fantastic book, which when Barack Obama, the jihadi president we had for a short spell, I thank God he didn't kill our country, when he gets indicted, you're going to go, why? Everything is in that book. This guy nails these people to the cross. Obama, Biden, Comey, the whole slew of these dirty rat-ass Democrats. And they've tried to take him to court probably 30 times. Never even made it to a courtroom because what is printed in the book is facts.
It's cute that it's cute that you still think there's accountability in this government. It's very cute that you think anybody will ever be held accountable for their actions in government. That's very cute of you. That's very cute. Where is this your first day? I gotta go. Let's go. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. Nope. You want to take a break?
Let's take a break now. That way we can take a break at 7:30 before the lieutenant governor calls in.
I think they were calling to sell us like something.
We're on. We have a caller.
We do? Good morning, caller. You calling to sell us insurance?
Good morning, Chuck. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning.
I'm here to get you upset today.
Fantastic.
Right?
Are you on a train?
Are you riding your bike on a train currently?
Yes.
In a roundabout.
Yes. No, I want to tell you. It's coos. I got my first customer, and I want you to hear this story because I always ask why people are buying or selling. And it's Bob. It's a new customer. It's going to be a new constituents of yours.
Okay.
Right in Dyer, just south of American Community Bank in that little subdivision there.
Oh yeah.
I asked I asked the customer, why are you moving to Dyer? And you know what the answer was?
Because of the train.
We live in Naperville. We're renting. It's too expensive. We're moving to Dyer, Indiana, so we can take the South Shore and we work in the city.
Do me a favor. Write down their address. Let's check in with them. I'm just saying. Let's just check in with them in a year and see if they're still riding that train. Or they're like, no, I was late. I was late 90% of the time.
I drive by almost daily, and I count. There's between 9 and 11 cars. Now, that doesn't include people that are getting dropped off, because I'm sure there are some people who get dropped off. But between 9 and 11. So I understand your point now is in the middle of this train the entire time, and I would have rather spent $1 billion. I would have rather taken $100 million and spent it 10 different ways in Northwest Indiana. We would have got way more bang for our buck. But now that it's built, why don't we just hope that it does what it's supposed to? And I just bring the facts up that that's the first customer that has told me that they literally decided to move to Dyer, Indiana, because it's cheaper than Naperville, and because of the taxes, and that they could jump on that extension to go work.
Yeah, and I wish, and this is the problem. They think that the South Shore is Metro. That's the problem. They think that this train, that even the supporters are like, what is this schedule? What a mess of a schedule. This doesn't make any sense. This is, it's it's just.
Well, that's different. That's different than whether we should have a train.
No, but that's my point though, is that you're spending $1 billion on a service, and the service is a disaster. And that's the problem, is these people are moving from Illinois thinking that this is going to work as well as Metro. I mean, if you look at Metro, the only thing propping it up at a certain point, even Illinois is like, hey, we don't have the money to keep this thing going, or, they're spending all this money on security on the L trains and stuff like that. But, like I was talking to somebody about this the other day, I said, even if that parking lot is half full, by their own metrics, they are cannibalizing their own ridership. So you are not adding new riders. And I'm gonna do a deep dive on this. I've got people that are watching. We'll be watching the numbers over the next few months. So even this idea of, hey, look at all these people riding that train, you're cannibalizing existing ridership. So all you're doing is just shuffling people around. You're not actually adding to the ticket pool.
Well, and let me add here.
And I will add. Go ahead.
I just want to say, one, they probably also moved to Dyer because their representatives on the town council are amazing,
right?
Handsome, smart.
That was the second thing.
I apologize for interrupting, because I know you were going to say that, but as someone who I didn't want the train to come here, then I never figured that folks moved to Dyer to be by a train station for the same reason I think that, as they're talking these expansion plans of taking it down to Cedar Lake, nobody moves to Cedar Lake and Lowell hoping to get on the train. But as government will do what government does, we have the train now. And so to your point, we said, okay, whether we want this or not, whether we advocated for this or not over the last 10, 20, 30 years, it's here now as a town. What do we want to do with it? And so far we have received we just had a council meeting where our police chief, Chief Alcott, updated us. We've received 0 calls. We have not seen an increase of traffic. Everybody said, well, what's Dyer going to do? Are you going to have to hire more officers? And I said, look, we're just going to see what happens, because my estimation was it wasn't that there was going to be a boatload of new riders. It's just that they're going to shift because, again, if you live in Dyer, Schererville, St. John, there's no need to drive all the way up to Hammondy, Chicago now. You can just come to Dyer, Munster. And I think that's what's happening. We've had virtually no impact on daily operations of the town, traffic, any of that. But we do have folks that your story is not uncommon, where people are saying, yeah, we're moving from Illinois, we're moving to Dyer because we want to be closer to the train.
But
hey,
again,
welcome.
I grew up in Dyer. Every single one of my neighbors was from Illinois 20 years before the train came. So, I mean, again, and I know plenty of people that left Munster or Hammond because of the train coming or because, they tore down their house. So we, if we're doing apples to apples, just as many people are leaving to get away from the train. And we're hearing about, the delays on Ridge Road now because the train station that's so close to Ridge Road, the gates are down for up to 5 minutes and stuff like that. So again, it's like some people are moving in and some people are moving out. And is it going to be transformational?
My daughter lives in Munster, and she works from home, but probably twice, two, three times a month she goes in. She actually used that Munster, the Munster station. So, I just kind of mess with you. But it's a true story that you're starting to hear of this. And I think also you're starting to see that these younger people are more apt to want to jump on a train than we did. Our generation, I'm 57, my generation was, we'd rather have our own car so we could go wherever we wanted to, leave whenever we wanted to. I think this younger generation's more into jumping on trains.
Well, right.
If they can.
But
some people aren't even.
But that was always the argument, though. Was
I
like,
think since it's here, go ahead.
No, but my point was like even people I saw people that were joking about people from Chicago saying they'd take the train to Munster. I'm like, what are you going to do? Walk to the BP? Like, there's nothing there. You're not going to get dropped off. Like when you go downtown, you get dropped off on Michigan Avenue. There's still things to do there. When you get dropped off on Ridge Road, what are you going to do? Walk to Applebee's? Do you know what I mean? Like you're not like interurbans is supposed to be between two major cities.
Well, I think the big draw.
There are two good.
No, I was just going to say, I think the big draw is, community owns a lot of that property right there at the Munster Dyer station there. Malpractice insurance is so much cheaper in Indiana. That's why you're seeing a lot of these University of Chicago types moving over here. I would not be surprised if at some point in the future, as that corridor builds up, that folks from Illinois hop on the train to come here for medical services.
Okay, but then you still need You're not going to walk over to Calumet Avenue.
I
need to come up with a
wouldn't be
transit
surprised.
solution.
I mean, they're going to be making so much money that if Community and Franciscan don't just camp out
time for a monorail.
Ooh,
but no, I mean that's the thing, Dave. Is like, well, will it have? I mean, that's the question. Is like you saw these people at the grand opening. I think the congressmen and stuff like that were talking about the billions of dollars in economic development, or even this idea that people that the train is giving people opportunity, because there's people in Dyer right now that couldn't get a job in Chicago because they didn't know how to get there. And now because of the train, people can go to Chicago. I mean, it's so disingenuous, the arguments. And like I said, you're cannibalizing existing riderships. You're not really doing a whole lot. You're just shifting people around and you're claiming that that's new economic development. So again, it's that sort of that voodoo economics of government, right? I mean, it's like you're just making all these claims and nobody's going to hold them accountable for them.
But I'm excited for this new family moving into Dyer because it's the best place to live in Northwest Indiana. It's one of the safest communities in Indiana. We have amazing green space and quality of life. We have places to eat and places to play. And welcome new family to Dyer. Hop on the train.
The second thing that they told me was they heard that there was a councilman named Bob Starkey. I said, absolutely. I said, he's on the radio. He does a good job. It was between St. John and Dyer, and they said they did an analysis of the current council people, and that you were the final straw.
That actually tracks. That tracks more than you know.
So his campaign billboards in Naperville are paying off. It's just Bob Starkey in Naperville waving like come to the train. Go ahead, sir.
I'm in front of my shop. The last thing I'll say is that it's not out of the realm for someone to take the train from Munster right there and, either buy a house or rent right in between Manor and Homan and have 312 right there, or 313, Fluoride's Place. And there are some restaurants, and there's some walking. That's the area I grew up in. There are some things to do over there. It's not like you're getting dropped off in the middle of nowhere.
No, but okay, remember,
you have some restaurants,
no, I get it.
You have some different things to do.
But remember when they were pitching this in the middle of the Cubs World Series in Munster and nobody was there, the people that were selling this were saying things like, this worked great in Anaheim, and everybody laughed because, again, walkable cities are great until it's 30 below zero. I mean, again, bike trails are great, 6 months out of the year, and then they don't get. That's the whole point. Is like this idea of, hey, I'm going to move to downtown Hammond or Munster, and I'm going to walk to the train. That's a great idea on a day like this. Let's go back out there. You and I can get some lawn chairs. Let's go sit at the train station when it's 30 below zero in January and 50 mile an hour blistering winds, and let's see how many people are walking to the train station on a day like that. You can't call it year round.
I mean, I lived in Roxana, Chuck. I lived in Roxana like you did, and you saw people walking from Roxana.
Yeah, and they were miserable. They were absolutely miserable.
And of course. It's miserable all over in North.
Right, but I'm saying, like, don't.
The best part of this conversation is Chuck saying that would never happen, and then the caller says it did happen. Chuck's, yeah, well, they must have been miserable.
I grew up. Kuziak is right. There were people in Roxana. That walked to the train station, but guess what? Like for 4 months out of the year, they would drive the 2 blocks because it was 30 below zero and half the roads weren't plowed, and they would drive their car 2 blocks. I know that for a fact. My neighbor used to do that.
I mean, it's miserable in downtown Chicago. Even when you get down there and you have to walk, and people go out and walk to lunch, you see it during the day. It's miserable everywhere in Northwest Indiana and Chicago,
right.
The Midwest, November all the way through. Probably even April.
So again, it sounds fun. It sounds fun on a day like this. Do it when it's 30 below zero. I mean, honestly, like nobody wants to do that, and nobody's going to do that, right? And then your commute takes twice as long.
When it's minus 30, Chuck. When it's
at least I'm warm. At least
I mean, you don't want to be in your car.
I was walking. I would walk downtown in the middle of the blizzard. Like I literally to this day, like I remember walking backwards, because it was like the wind was trying to knock me over, and it was 20 below zero, and there was 3-foot snowdrift. Like it was the most miserable thing I've ever experienced, and I will never do it again.
We only had potatoes.
We only had potatoes, and we walked 10 miles uphill. Thank you.
I'm in front of my shop. Have a good
okay, but I mean, again, when you do that, you remember that. You remember walking through a blizzard as one of the most miserable things that's ever happened to me, and I don't ever want to do that again. So it's like one of those, hey, this sounds great on paper when it's 70 degrees out and sunny in April, but try doing that. When it's 30 below zero. I mean, that's the thing, is like, it's like, hey, this is a great idea. Walkable communities. Like, no, at least I have a car to fall back on. All these people are going to move places without parking, without a place to put their car. And it's like, hey, good luck. There's 3-foot snow drifts. Good luck walking to the train station. Nobody's plowed and nothing's been taken care of. Nothing's been maintained. Good luck getting to the train today. And then the train will get stuck on a hill, and then you have to call your boss from Hegwish. Go, sorry, I'm stuck on a hill because nobody on the train, thought about de-icing the train tracks. Sorry. Like that's the reality. Sit here and say, "Oh, it's a beautiful thing. I'll take my grandkids."
Next person that calls with the train
he called
thing.
And he did this to you. Brought this on yourself, Regent.
Yeah.
No, look. I mean, that's the thing. Is like on paper, yeah, it's beautiful. It's a great thing, and then the reality sets in. And maybe we'll do that next winter. We'll do a remote where we'll start walking from your house to the train, and we'll ask people how miserable they are, like who walked today to the train, and how you feeling. Like, well, let's do that. Let's do that. We'll put a pin in that for January. We'll take the show on the road in the middle of a blizzard and see how these people are the walkable communities are working out.
You're listening to WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM here in beautiful Hammond, Indiana. We are going to take a break, and we'll be right back with the Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you.
My name is Jason Gore, and I'm asking for your vote to be Lake County's next sheriff. I was born, raised, started the family, and worked my nearly 30-year career in law enforcement, both as a local police officer and as an ATF agent, all here in Lake County. I promise to lead differently, restore the public's trust in the Sheriff's Department, and to build a world-class police organization that is focused on serving you. In this election, Lake County residents have a different choice.
I spent more than 2 decades protecting the people of Lake County as a patrol officer, canine handler, detective, and now chief of police. I know what it takes to keep our neighborhoods safe, support our local police departments, and hold the sheriff's office to the highest standards. As your sheriff, I'll focus on strong training, crime prevention, and real partnerships with the communities we serve. I'm Stephen Flores. I'm ready to be a working sheriff you can trust, and I approve this message.
Hi, my name is John Patalis, and I am your Lake County Treasurer. Your Treasurer's Office is responsible for the collection of over $1 billion per year in money that belongs to you, the taxpayer. I am asking you for your support and vote on Tuesday, May 5, as I seek re-election to this very important financial office. For public service and not self-service, please remember me, John Patalis, for your Lake County Treasurer. Paid for by the committee to elect John Patalis.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
My name is Jason Gore, and I'm asking for your vote to be Lake County's next sheriff. I was born, raised, started the family, and worked my nearly 30-year career in law enforcement, both as a local police officer and as an ATF agent, all here in Lake County. I promise to lead differently, restore the public's trust in the Sheriff's Department, and to build a world-class police organization that is focused on serving you. In this election, Lake County residents have a different choice.
I spent more than 2 decades protecting the people of Lake County as a patrol officer, canine handler, detective, and now chief of police. I know what it takes to keep our neighborhoods safe, support our local police departments, and hold the sheriff's office to the highest standards. As your sheriff, I'll focus on strong training, crime prevention, and real partnerships with the communities we serve. I'm Stephen Flores. I'm ready to be a working sheriff you can trust, and I approve this message.
Hi, my name is John Patalis, and I am your Lake County Treasurer. Your Treasurer's Office is responsible for the collection of over $1 billion per year in money that belongs to you, the taxpayer. I am asking you for your support and vote on Tuesday, May 5, as I seek re-election to this very important financial office. For public service and not self-service, please remember me, John Patalis, for your Lake County Treasurer. Paid for by the committee to elect John Patalis.
I'm Jerry Williams. For over 35 years, I protected Lake County as a state trooper and interim police chief of Gary. This is my home, and keeping our community safe has been my life's work. I've dedicated my career to fighting crime. Now I'm running for sheriff to get the job done and deliver real results. As a crime fighter, not a politician, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Jerry Williams for sheriff.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Hey, it's 7:32 in the region. Let's take a quick look at traffic and weather. Traffic here in Indiana looking fantastic. 8094, 65, Skyway, Toll Road, all looking good. On the Illinois side, little slowdown Bishop Ford to the Dan Ryan. Dan Ryan getting heavy from the merge on into the circle, but usual traffic for us if you are heading downtown. 294 looking good if you're heading to the airports. 80 east and west looking good. So not much to report. Beautiful Friday traffic. Joe, how are things in the weather?
Things with the weather are looking fantastic for right now. The skies are pretty clear for as of right now, but you are going to get some thunderstorms later in the day. It's going to be a high of 74 and a real feel of 73. And then the weekend will begin, and it will dry off, but the temperature will drop with a high of 54 and a real feel of 55. And then Sunday will be much of the same, but the temperature will rise a little bit with a high of 68 and a real feel of 71, and it's just going to be partially sunny with a few clouds. So enjoy your weather for the weekend, and I'm done.
Fantastic. Thank you. You've got the Lieutenant Governor on the phone lines. Let's bring him in. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Fantastic.
We
only.
Where do you want to start?
Well, okay,
exactly.
Hang on.
We only chuckle. I don't know if. I'm sorry, I'm stealing your microphone, Chuck.
No, I've been working on this bit for a whole week. Okay,
he has been.
Lieutenant Governor, we originally invited you on to talk about your latest controversy. That was 4 or 5 controversies ago now. So you decide. But again, here's the interesting thing. The more I think about everything that's going on in your life, it's sort of a microcosm of just what's happening in this country in general, right? So I think a lot of these stories are sort of interrelated and what's going on in your life. It's a perfect sort of snapshot of what we're dealing with. So I really, and again, I've been telling people, a lot of people have been messaging me saying, ask them about this, ask them about that. At the end of the day, I want to manage expectations. Like, look, you're your own man. And we invited you on. I don't believe in like ambush journalism. So it's basically you're here and we're going to talk about, what you want to talk about.
You can ask me anything you want to ask.
Well, we'll start at the beginning. So, okay. So let's start at the beginning. It seems like a lifetime ago that we were talking about the Valparaiso thing. Again, it was really interesting. What I always find interesting is not a lot of times it's not the event itself. It's sort of like the social media reaction and then what people that, don't even live in the state tell me happened. And, again, it's sort of like this imagined thing of like, well, here's what I heard on TikTok. But let's start there. So you tell me kind of like in your words, like what happened at Valparaiso so many lifetimes ago, which is just last Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was invited up to speak at their college and job fair, which was fantastic, by the way. The teachers putting it on did an amazing job. It was one of the coolest job fairs ever. I mean, there were about 1,000, give or take, maybe, 700 or so juniors and seniors in the auditorium. When I got up on stage to speak, I spoke about jobs. I spoke about the economic prowess and the booming economy we have here in Indiana, jobs that these students could potentially get when they graduate high school, where they could go, talking about the STEM path, the trades path, the 4-year college path. I was just giving them sort of a rundown of, okay, here's what's coming up for you guys as you consider, your next steps. This is what Indiana has to offer, and this is not a state where you have to move out of anymore to get a job and build a life. And so that we're doing great things in this state. And so that was it. I mean, if you would have heard me on that, you'd been like, that's the most benign, non-political Micah has ever been in his entire life, bar none. And so I walk off the stage, and as the students are funneling out to go out to the cafeteria where all the job fair stuff is set up, about, 7 to 10, give or take, students, kind of bum rush me right there. And you could tell they're probably on the left. They have that look and, blue hair, some piercings, and they don't have a real nice smile on their face. They're not coming up to say, thank you for being here. They're coming up here to, say, hey, we want to, call you out on the things that you said or you believe. And so they started pointing at me, what do you believe on abortion? What do you believe on LGBTQ, immigration, and all these things? So as we're there, I'm like, well, I'll answer you. I'm the lieutenant governor of the state of Indiana. I have opinions on politics, and so I said, hey, abortion's murder. Transgenderism is a mental illness. It's actually labeled by the medical field as gender dysphoria. I said we shouldn't affirm them in that. We should help them through it. Immigration, if you're here illegally, we want you out. You have to come through the door the right way, just like everybody else does. Get in line, wait your turn, and you're welcome here. But if you do it any other way, get out. And those things obviously triggered them, and it was pushing their buttons. But I was very kind. I was very respectful. Even one kid, I went to shake his hand, and I shook all the anytime the kids would come up, I'd shake their hands. And this one kid was like, I'm not going to shake your hand. I'm like, well, why not? And he said, because I don't respect you. And so, that's kind of what I was dealing with, right? It was these, arrogant, hot-headed, small group. Again, in large number, the majority of the students were fantastic, but there was just, a couple leftist students that had a bone to pick, and which is totally fine. I'm your Huckleberry. I'll let you debate me on anything you want to debate me on, anyone, right? I don't care if you're a teenager or, 90 years old. Like, I'll tell you what I believe, why I believe it, and I know how to defend it. And so that's what it was. And so I leave, we're walking around. The teachers are showing me around the school. Actually, they got a great tech space in that in Valparaiso. I mean, it was really a great tour, and I loved it. So I get in the car in about 15 minutes, driving away from Valpo. My chief of staff texts me, and she says, there's already a change.org petition up, calling for apology from the school for having you come, right? And it was just, for saying things. I said, well, for what? Like, what did I say? They said, well, you were talking about LGBTQ and all that stuff. I said, I never mentioned that. I talked to a few kids off stage, like privately, like in a small setting, because they asked me. I said, I never talked about that. And then the other, then I guess there was an aspect of someone said, well, he brought religion into his speech. Well, let me tell you what I said when I was talking about jobs. I said, you all have been given God-given talents and skills, and you need to decide and figure out how to use those skills. And Indiana has many sectors that you can apply those skills and those talents to. And so I said God-given, right? And so that's me bringing religion into apparently the public space. Now, I don't know what the idiot leaders at like Jim McCall, the superintendent, he's an idiot. But I don't know what he does with the Pledge of Allegiance. So, one nation under God. Do you just not say that? Do you not let your students say that there, Jimmy? But anyway, so then Jim McCall puts out this long statement saying, we're so sorry that we had the lieutenant governor come. This was insensitive. We should do better. We'll do a better job vetting. Now, here's what's going on. He's getting bullied by about 10 leftist students. All right, so he's a weak man, which is fine. Like, there are weak men out there. He's just one of them, and I don't like weak men, and I have very little patience for him. But okay, that's what it is. But here's the bigger picture, and this is why I had to respond the way I responded, is because this will send a chilling effect. I was even with the governor yesterday, and we were talking about this, and he's kind of over his mind, like he can't believe this happened, but he agreed. Like, we both were talking. This will limit any conservative voices that want to come back to a public school anywhere, because what they're going to see, they're going to say, well, my goodness, if Governor Braun or Lieutenant Governor Beckwith or Senator Banks or someone like that comes and speaks, all you need is about 7 leftist kids to create a firestorm, call their parents, who then call the superintendent. And then you have this national story, and it is a national story right now because I've taken it national. I'm not going to sit quietly and go quietly into the night. And so I responded because I want the Jim McCalls of the world to know you're going to get blasted either way. You better just pick a lane. So if you do this, then we will, like, I will blast you. I will make this a national story. I will highlight you as a weak superintendent, as a weak man. He's resigning, thank God, because he should not be over any education, let alone a high school like Valparaiso. And so So, but we're going to call them on it now. We're not. The conservatives used to just be nice, right? We take the high road. We don't respond. We just keep our mouths shut and just kind of take our licks and live to fight another day. Well, those days are gone. And I'm here to tell you that if any school thinks that a few leftist students can bully their administration into keeping your state elected officials, whether you're Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, I don't care. Everyone has a right to be on a platform like that because we're government officials. This is a government bureaucracy. The public schools are not some, off-limit space to government officials. We are part of the government. The tax dollars we are stewarding goes to fund schools like Valpo. It's really important for me to get in there, for Governor Braun to get in there, for people to get in there and see how it's going face to face. And so this is why it's so important. And this is why I'm so, I'm madder than a hornet over this, because I know what they're doing. And this is just one more peg to silence conservative Christian voices in those spaces. And they'll fill it with their religion, their secular progressive religion, because it is a religion. They'll fill that space all day long with that. And you can talk all day long about, secular progressivism from any stage, and you can push that. Nobody will say boo. But the moment someone like me gets up on stage and says, oh, you have God-given talents, and then I have the audacity to say to some kids off stage, hey, abortion is murder. That's a problem now? I don't think so. That's not how it's going to roll in Indiana.
It was, I want to say a Chicago Tribune had an article on February 27th about Valpo High School, and that was one of those high schools that allowed, to some form or fashion, 100 or so of their kids leave class, leave the education environment, and go do an ICE protest. And so, I don't live in Porter County. I have no association with the Valpo school system. But I think, how disingenuous is it to, on one hand, say, oh, kids, leave the classroom, go be a part of this broader conversation about immigration, illegal immigration, the role of ICE in society. Go out and leave the classroom, go out in the world and protest this, voice your opinion. But at the same time, like you said, within minutes there's a change.org petition. There are apologies being written where a handful of kids hear something that they clearly they wanted to hear it. That's what it sounds like. And I think multiple reports, not just your retelling of that story, was that, there were some kids who wanted to stir something up for social media, and so they didn't like what you said.
Okay,
but just months earlier, the administration was like, go be a part of the world.
Let me ask a question about that, though. Were those students, did they put phones in your face, cameras in your face? Were they recording you?
It looked like one of them had their phone up. Like, it looked like they were recording. I mean, I didn't say, hey, stop recording. I mean, again, I don't care.
Right, but I mean, it was one of those things where they came to you, they basically kind of ambushed you with sort of these pointed questions to get a response from you that, basically to try to, stir up some social media.
They were going to send it to their parents, and I knew that, right? Like, the moment they put a phone up, I'm like, okay, they're going to send it to mom and dad, So, but again, that's fine.
But just to clarify, though, the students were not locked in a room and you weren't shouting at. I mean, again, it's amazing what comes out of social media. It was like, oh, the kids were locked in the auditorium and they had to listen to him and, all this kind of stuff. It was just.
Yeah, the first story made it sound like they were barricaded in and you were up there
you were shouting probably in German and, shouting hateful things at them. And like, that's the story that came. But this is the crazy thing, that there's people that don't like you that will believe that. You know what I mean? Like, you showed up with your henchmen and locked these. But I want to digress real quick, because I am jealous of you about one thing. I found out the other day that the Hoosiers against Micah Beckwith for Indiana now have nearly 5,000 members. I'm very jealous of you for that. We of course shared this. We of course shared this interview with that group where they declined to share my post, so they can actually hear what you had to say about what happened.
They didn't want to hear what you had to say. Again, Chuck has been, for the last few days, been promoting, because there have been. We can get into, was it Westville, Westlake, whatever. We can get that, but there's been a few, and so Chuck has been obsessed with this. We hate Micah Beckwith group because he's fascinated.
I'm jealous that you have 5,000 people that came together to spew hate against.
But the fact that we posted in there, or attempted to say, hey, we're going to have him on the radio, and we're going to ask him, hey, what about these things that you say, why don't you hear from him? And no.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Okay. But let's go back real quick, because one of the things, and I was thinking about, I'm sure you remember, we were talking about this years ago, like, for instance, when Ben Shapiro tried to speak at Berkeley, and they basically, there's a firestorm, they literally lit fires, and, they were threatening him, or even more recently, obviously, what happened with Charlie Kirk. I mean, again, this is something that this is not new. This is sort of the slippery slope that we expected. I mean, I was talking about that back, Berkeley, which used to be the bastion of free speech, and now a conservative is not even allowed on campus without there being a riot. Like, this is the natural progression of things. But what was really interesting to me is I love sort of engaging on social media on the back end and seeing, again, like, people that don't even live here telling me what happened that night. But then also, there were people on social media that were saying things to me, because I was asking them, I said, well, what's the issue? Tell me from your perspective what the issue is. And there was people that were telling me that you are not allowed. This is one of the quotes. The lieutenant governor is not allowed to have that opinion. I mean, when it comes like transit, they focus on the transit issues, basically saying you're not allowed to have that opinion. And that it blew my mind, the hypocrisy and things like, it's like, do you hear the words that you're saying? Is that we're allowed to do all these things. Like you said, we're allowed to say all these things in school. We're allowed to do all these things. But when a conservative comes in, you are not allowed. Like, you are not allowed to have an opinion. And that blew my mind that's where we are. And one of the other things that I was thinking about was, so often in politics, we always accuse politicians of being phonies and stuff like that. When a guy comes out like you and actually you ask him a tough question, you ask him about abortion, you ask him about trans issues, and you give them a real answer, they're like baffled and shocked. Like, wait, he gave us a real answer. He gave us his real opinion and not some political answer. And he didn't dodge the question. People are just sort of confused at that point when you give an actual opinion. And
that's right. I mean, it's an upside down world, guys. I mean, we are, it's crazy. I mean, it shows the ignorance. I mean, when someone says the lieutenant governor is not allowed to have an opinion, I mean, it's how stupid have we become as a society, right? Like, that is just the most asinine thing. If someone really believes that out there, I'd say, hey, please go get a helmet, because I don't want you to get hurt when someone has a differing opinion, of you, because you're going to find many people, thousands of people every day you're going to cross paths with that you probably don't agree with 100%. So if we can't have these discussions, and listen, like you said, Charlie was murdered, my friend, he was assassinated because of what he believed. President Trump was shot for what he believed. I had a bomb threat last week over my house. Someone, a far left radical group, is saying they want to burn my house down with my kids in it. Right? You saw the Virginia Attorney General that just got elected. He made those comments saying he hopes the Speaker of the House and his wife, their kids are murdered, and they can hold the dying kids. And the wife.
I mean, he said that before the election. He still won the election, right? I mean, before the election.
That's crazy to me. I just, and what they want you to do, they want you to actually be silent. They want you to shut up, to sit down, stay in a corner, and if we do that, then they win.
So that becomes sort of the issue. And I was telling these people, I said, in a legitimate world, if people had issues with the lieutenant governor, why are we not having, we always talk about debates here in Lake County. We've got our sheriff race coming up. Like, why are we not having these debates in high school? Why are we not exposing children, this sort of idea where it's like, if you're offended by what he says, then bring somebody up and have a debate. I would love it if, local high schools had people of opinions, whether Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, we came in and actually had debates about issues, or we actually were invited to speak. And had, exposed these people. And far too often, what I found in my own experience was we are so sheltered politically, like in high school, then you have sort of this culture shock of college. But then also, again, because of the way college is structured, it's sort of more of a leftist opinion, a leftist ideology. And then, you get done with college and now you're kind of exposed to the real world. And far too often students have been sheltered from opinions. And then they get to this point where they go, you're not allowed to have that opinion. And that's where we are. So, I mean, again, it becomes really, it's baffling to me that somebody could say something like, you're not allowed to have that opinion. Okay, let's go ahead.
Immature people, right? Like, so this is why the Tyler Robinsons of the world will murder Charlie Kirk, is because they've never been taught how to deal with somebody's differing opinion. And we should allow in schools of all places the ideas, the free marketplace of ideas to flourish and have, listen, I'm a constitutional literacy teacher. I teach a high school constitution class. Last week, I do it every Monday. Last week we had a debate, and I made the kids take the opposite side of what they personally believe and defend it. And I said, hey, listen, if you're pro-life, you're gonna defend the abortion argument. If you're pro-gun, you're gonna defend the anti-gun argument. And so that was where that's how I teach, and I think our kids actually really benefit from that. And I think that's a great thing for our schools to be, but so we're losing that.
So, why don't we kind of work in the other issues going on? So you mentioned the bomb threat, and again, like that's sort of the thing, is that he's not allowed to have that opinion, and because he does, we're going to threaten his life. So kind of explain, because it is a little unclear. So basically, you didn't even know that this had happened until you found out from the media.
That's right. Yeah, and I'm not one to give the Indy Star much praise, but I will say good job, Indy Star, on this one. But yeah, for the last year, there's been this radical far left group that's trying to, apparently blow up my house, and so we didn't know. It was the FBI was involved. They never let our office know, and so that was news to us. And I'm frankly a little ticked off. And if it hadn't been for some people within that far left group who said, hey, this is a bridge too far, and I don't know if we would know that this is even happening. So there were a couple people that came out and said, hey, when he started saying, the leader of this group, that we want to burn down his house with his kids in it, they were like, okay, we're not doing that. And so they got out and they told law enforcement, and that's how that. But that was a year ago, almost a year ago. I was back last August and September, and we were never informed. So, and this guy actually was the guy who said that he wants to burn down my house with my kids in it. He was actually at one of our town halls 2 weeks ago. I was 5 feet from him. He was right down front and sitting right in front of me, and we had no idea. So
I want to kind of just digress for a second on this. Is that, again, you come from so have you always been sort of a pastor? I mean, what else, like in your personal life and your professional life, what were you kind of doing before you got into politics?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pastoring, working I was teaching music ministry. I had a music school, and so I've always been passionate about teaching and training up the next generation. That's always been a passion of mine. But that's what I was doing before. I was a small business owner with our music school. My family was in the dairy industry, so we ended up, I did that for a number of years in college and up till college and after college. And so, yeah, I've kind of got a pretty eclectic sort of past. I got a lot of things I like to do, and I've been led down a path of. I feel like it's been very, very interesting path. I'm never a dull day in the world that I've walked.
But I mean, also you've been exposed to a lot of different things. Again, being a small business owner, that's a whole challenge onto itself, dealing with government and red tape and bureaucracy and things like that. But my point is, transitioning from that experience into the public sector. I mean, how are you handling just sort of like this idea of, you're in a constant news cycle now. Like I said, I was joking about how there's been 5 controversies this week alone. Like, I guess, how do you process that? Like, how are you approaching that? Like, how does that affect you personally?
It doesn't. I mean, it just means I'm doing something right. These people they hate America. They're Marxists. If I'm making them mad, then good. Like I said, I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll make you mad all day long and twice on Sunday. So, I mean, that's to me, it's just actually encouraging when I start seeing these people, like over the Valpo controversy or over this Westfield thing. When I see people coming at me who hate me, and I mean, you should see some of the messages in my inbox. I mean, it's just vile stuff. But I'm kind of like, those are encouraging. Like, I get those, I read those. I'm like,
we had suggested, I wanted to do something like, I think Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, we want to do a bit like Jimmy Kimmel does, like read your ink. But we probably would get FCC violations if we read some of your messages.
So next time you're up in the region and you hop on the radio show, I think we may do that. We'll just have you, read the mean tweets of folks that just say awful things.
Okay,
to
but
you.
so the reason I was asking that is, I mean, for a lot of people that I've met, they get involved in politics. They have these, aspirations of, serving their community and stuff like that. And they just get turned off by the reality of sort of dealing. I mean, is this something that is this sort of like, man, I just want to walk away from this? Are you like doubling down? Like, okay, let's, like you said, I'm your Huckleberry. I mean, like what are you like here's my point. If you're going to announce a run for presidency, this would be the week to do it. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to run for president, now's the time to announce.
Definitely not doing that, but no, I really love what God got me doing. I mean, God's opened the door. I'm walking through it. I've got a great team around me. Listen, the majority of messages I get, and when I'm around the state, it's always people saying, "Good job, thanks for what you're doing." I mean, I was in the airport yesterday because I'm out in D.C. right now. I'm going to be taking part in America Reads the Bible today at the Bible Museum, and so. But when I was in the airport, I had 3 people come up to me. Just in Indianapolis, and they were like, "Thank you for what you're doing. We're so thankful for how you're standing up for me and my family." And so those are the things that people don't see, and those are very, very, those are like there are oases in the desert, right? And it's like, okay, that's great. I can go for another day. So I guess to all your listeners right now, I'd just say, if you ever think about sending an encouraging word to somebody in public office, like, do it, because you may not know what they're dealing with on the other side. And that word might get them through the day. And it's amazing how, when you get an encouraging word or email or message from somebody, it's like, okay, this is why I'm fighting, and I can do it tomorrow. And so I've really been surrounded by prayer warriors, by people with encouragement, and the majority of people are like, hey, we got you in there. We put you in there. We love what you're doing. Keep it up, and don't back down.
Okay, so that's Lieutenant Governor. With the last couple of minutes we got here, I'm just getting barraged with people asking about like the Westfield thing and asking. I mean, so basically, do you want to just kind of hit all of these other controversies, just kind of what your opinion is, like the Westfield thing? There's people asking about the church and asking about the AI and all these kind of things. So do you want to just? I mean, again, totally up to you. You're an adult. You decide. If you want,
we'll call this Micah's Minute.
Yeah, Micah's Minute to just if you want to apologize for any number of things or not apologize or double down. Whatever you'd like to do, just kind of, I mean, if you want to just kind of run through these things and give your take, the air is yours.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, as far as the Westfield thing goes, so the other day, a couple students, had reached out and they said, hey, we feel really uncomfortable. We're Christians, we're conservatives, but our drum line is doing this performance that's very dark. It's very demonic looking. So I looked into it, and sure enough, it takes from a fantasy world, from a fantasy novel called Carmen, and this is a seductress. She's a witch that seduces men out of marriages to have affairs with them. And so the Westfield Drumline is from this opera that is about Carmen, and so I just called it out. I said, I don't want my tax dollars funding this crap. Like, and if you look at these students, I mean, they're dressed in all black. I mean, they've got red on their skin, under their eyes, it looks like blood. I mean, it's very dark. And I'm just like, okay, hey, I mean, out of all the amazing art in the world, like, why this one? Could we not have found something else? I mean, like I said, I was a band director, teacher, music school owner. Like, I love the arts. The arts are very, very important to me. But why this, right? And I felt like it was literally just a thumb in the eye of the traditional values in our schools. Like, I mean, like I expressed earlier with Valpo, Jim McCall didn't like that I said, God on stage, God-given talents, right? Like, and so there's a big time battle brewing right now. And so that's what it was. So I called it out. I was on Whoa just before I jumped on with you guys in Fort Wayne. And I explained that, and they said, would you change anything about sharing that post? I said, well, yeah, probably, I probably share it twice or 3 times, knowing what I know now. So,
well, but and one of the things that you said though was you mentioned like the voucher. You said use your vouchers, and so this is an interesting thing. Again, this is goes back years and years now. This idea that I've been saying that we're eventually going to find ourselves in a scenario where you have sort of like liberal school and conservative school. You have liberal media and conservative. Like, we're basically going to be it's like basically a divorce where it's like, okay, I go to this school, I don't like what they're teaching my kids, so I'm going to use my voucher and go elsewhere. And it's sort of like we finally let the free market decide, right? I mean, and that's sort of the thing is like when you have a failed school district, like here in Northwest Indiana, we've had a school district that's basically just been an abject failure, not teaching the kids anything. And the state had to come in and bail them out and take over. And so this idea that we have, vouchers, we have charter schools for a reason, is that basically if that gives these parents an option. Like, I don't like what's being taught, or my kids aren't being taught anything, I want to take them somewhere else. It's great that we have that option. And again, another amazing hypocrisy that instead of trying to fix the school, you attack the people that say, hey, I don't like what you're doing here, I'm going to take my kids elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the world we live in, right? Just like you said, we have liberal media and conservative media, and it's like, can't we all just get along? It's like, well, no, we can't. If you're going to push this absolute crap down the throats of my children, I'm going somewhere else. And praise God, Indiana has an amazing voucher program, and you can basically, anybody in the state of Indiana can use your tax dollars to go to any school you want to go to, your choice. And I think that's, again, to your point, guys, I mean, I'm a big free market guy. I don't really like government doing stuff. I mean, anytime government does stuff, it's always like, oh, I hope this goes okay. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. And then, so it's like, let the free market decide. I mean, this is the invisible hand that the founding fathers spoke of in their writings, the invisible hand of the marketplace. It'll fix it. It'll figure things out. But you got to give people the freedom and the ability to be able to do that. And so I'm going to err on that side, especially with education right now, because you're right. If I can't even if the lieutenant governor of the state of Indiana can't even go to a public school and talk about jobs without the school, like Superintendent Jim McCall, like losing his ever-loving mind, I mean, there's no other option but then to pull my kids out of this cesspool of, echo chamber and indoctrination. And that's all it's become. It's just become an echo chamber of indoctrination. So,
and that's sort of what I said is in my post. I said the people that are indoctrinating your children are outraged that somebody else tried to indoctrinate their children, right? I mean, that's sort of the thing. That's the irony of the situation. It is 8:02. You listen to AM 1230, 104.7 FM. Okay, so a lot of people are asking about the church situation. Do you want to chime in on that at all?
Yeah. So our church has gone through a rocky period. So just for the backstory, the adult son of our lead pastor was arrested for having child exploitation material. Nobody knew about it. This guy didn't even go to our church. I mean, he was the son of our lead pastor. He would occasionally show up, maybe on Christmas and Easter. I mean, I hadn't seen him for probably a year and a half personally, so didn't even really know where he'd gone. He's kind of one of those guys, unfortunately, just sort of he made a lot of bad choices growing up, and his parents tried to love him. They tried to direct him down the right path, but as kids do sometimes, they make their own stupid choices, and he made his, and so thank God he's in jail. I mean, he's months ago, and that's I'm going to tie it to me, and it's like, hey, there's messed up people that darken the doors of our church all the time. I mean, we're not backgrounding checking. We're not checking people as they come. We're saying, come as you are, right? And so it's like, oh, he should have never been there. Oh, he should, the fact that he came on a Christmas service or whatever it might have been. It's like, hey, listen, we're not the arbiters of you're not welcome in the church. Like, if you need to be in the church, you should be in the church. But he was never like in leadership. I mean, I was talking to a Democrat state senator the other day, and he said, I heard your youth pastor, he's in jail for this. I'm like, youth pastor? What are you talking about? Like, yeah, he worked with youth. I said, no, he didn't. He wasn't employed by the church. He never worked with the church. He wasn't working with kids. But it's amazing how the narrative gets spun, and people will be like, oh, my goodness, somebody at the church. It's like, no, like, yeah, we're connected to him through, he's my good friend's son. But like I said, he's a deadbeat. And and our heart is, I pray that God gets a hold of him when he's in prison. And I've seen many redemptive stories come from prison, and so I'm thankful that he's there, because I think he would have probably ended up going down a path that he could have, hurt more people. He could have hurt himself. I mean, and so hopefully this is a wake up call needed. And that's what we're praying. And I know, and the hard part is it breaks the heart of my friends, the pastor and his wife, because, he's still their son. They still love him to death. And we're moving on. I mean, it's fine. I mean, our church is fine. I still preach almost every Sunday, and it's been good. Nate is our lead pastor. He's taking a sabbatical with his wife. They're getting healing, and it's just because they need it after what they've gone. He'll be back though. I mean, he's just getting a few months of rest, and then he'll be back, and I think he'll be ready to go. So. Anyway, that's the whole church stuff.
Okay. Well, yeah. And again, it's like one of those things where things happen in, in different places, whether it's in a church or in a company or stuff like that. It's like, if you're dealing with your business, is like, does it need to become this big story? Like, things happen. And like you said, it's unfortunate that you get dragged into it. And it's unfortunate that everybody, there's a lot of times these stories, people don't think about the innocent people that sort of get dragged into these stories. There's a lot of collateral damage. Just somebody wants to come after you, and then they end up doing a lot of collateral damage in the process. But okay, we appreciate your time. I appreciate you. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say this. One of the reasons that happens is because the Indianapolis media is probably the most corrupt, lying media in the nation, only second to D.C. probably.
You got to come to Lake County then, my friend. Spend some time up here. I would challenge you on that one, but we could talk for hours about that.
I it's going to be close. I mean, I guess it's, on any given day, it's whatever media market eats their Wheaties might outdo them for the most corrupt media market award. But anyway, it's not good. But my point is that you have dishonest journalists. They're not really journalists. They're ideologues that want to score political points. They want their political heads on stakes. After I guess these guys look at they look at the Watergate scandal, right? And you have those journalists who did good journalism. I think they got to the bottom of it, but they brought down the president. I think that's like sort of become the goal of every journalist now, to bring somebody down, right? We're going to go find the biggest story that's going to get somebody in trouble and bring them down. And that's not honest journalism. That's a witch hunt.
Well,
right?
here, if you got a minute though, let's talk about, if you got another minute, let's talk about like what's happening to Nick Shirley. The journalists have failed. Yep. So now you got this kid shows up to expose things. And instead of going, oh man, look what he exposed, they go, no, we got to do something about that kid who's exposing all the corruption. Do you know what I mean? Like what's happening with the Nick Shirley Act in California? Again, it's such an upside down thing. Instead of going, okay, you caught us, we should have done a better job. We should have been better stewards of these billions of dollars. They go, no, we got to do something about that kid. He's exposing all of our, exposing all the corruption. So it's a baffling time in this country.
It is. But I appreciate guys like you and what you do. I mean, you guys have open and honest conversation. I certainly don't lump you guys into that, because everything I've seen from you is you'll ask the tough questions. You'll hold people accountable, which is what you need to be doing. But you're also reasonable and fair, right? And that's all I ask. Hey, I don't want you covering for me if I did something wrong or I need to be held accountable. Like, that's what the media should be doing. But when you're out there just trying to gin up any type of controversy or story just because you want to take down, me or somebody else, and like, that's where I say, okay, well, now I'm going to fight you, right? Now I'm going to expose you for who you are. And quite frankly, you're seeing what's happening in Indianapolis. All of these media outlets are getting bought up. They're getting consolidated. People are being let go. Their jobs are being done away with. Why? Because nobody's buying their crap anymore. And so, like any free market business, if people stop buying the crap that you're selling, you're not going to be in business very long. And so, people are freaking out. Oh my gosh, Channel 6 is, or WTHR or whatever, all these consolidations that are happening. And, and I'm thinking, well, it wouldn't be happening if you guys were good at your job, right? And so be better and you'll be fine. But they can't get that. They're like, oh, we just want people to give us money, and no matter how sucky we are at our job,
Right. Well, and so just so you know, open invitation. I mean, whatever controversies you get yourself into next week or the following week, you know where to find us.
You're always welcome to call in, come in, Zoom in, whatever.
We can have just a perpetual Zoom link. You can just jump in whenever and, whatever. But again, I enjoy it because, again, like you said, I mean, it's crazy when you see, I come from a journalism background, and just sort of the way that journalism, you're right on about how it's become just sort of this, it's no longer journalism. And the biggest problem that a lot of people don't understand is that the people that are doing these things in journal, I don't even know if they understand what they're doing anymore. Like they have no desire for the truth. For me, it's like, hey man, I love digging and getting to the truth. These people don't care. It's basically the truth is getting in the way of their narratives. Like, no, there's no room for the truth here. We got to get this story out. And I've seen that firsthand. I've been dealing with that for 20 years in journalism. It's just, and again, like you said, you're going to, eventually your audience is going to wake up and go, you know what? You guys have lied to me one too many times. I'm done. I'll go get my journalism from, some random neighbor with a blog because I trust them more than my local journalists. And they did this to themselves. I call them the dinosaur media, and I say, you guys did this to yourselves. You go learn to code because you did this to yourselves. You knew what you were doing, and if you didn't, that's even worse. That you couldn't face yourself in the mirror and go, wait, should I be, I need to be telling the truth, not what I want to be true. And they spent decades not caring, and now it's come to bite them. So hey, have fun in Washington. Keep an eye on your wallet while you're there. You know where to find us.
We're just walking in.
Go ahead.
Walking into Department of Housing and Urban Development. So HUD, we got a meeting with some of the HUD team, and we're going to talk about Okra and helping to fund some small communities here in Indiana. So that's what we're getting ready to do right now. So we're out here. We are doing America Reads the Bible later tonight, which is great. But we're going to get some see if we can get some more funding for Indiana towns while we're here. So.
Well, we appreciate your time. Have fun. Like I said, you know where to find us, next time they write about you. So we appreciate it. Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, thank you so much for joining us. Have fun in Washington. Let's take a break. We'll be back with your phone calls. Or you tell me I'm an idiot after.
And we've got, as soon as we get back, I'm going to do our announcement.
Oh, that's
for the
right.
Dyer
Okay, let's do that. So, there's going to be a bunch of angry phone calls, though. Why don't you guys wait? Bob's going to do the fun thing, and then we'll take your angry phone calls here on WJOB.
My name is Jason Gore, and I'm asking for your vote to be Lake County's next sheriff. I was born, raised, started the family, and worked my nearly 30-year career in law enforcement, both as a local police officer and as an ATF agent, all here in Lake County. I promise to lead differently, restore the public's trust in the Sheriff's Department, and to build a world-class police organization that is focused on serving you. In this election, Lake County residents have a different choice.
I spent more than 2 decades protecting the people of Lake County as a patrol officer, canine handler, detective, and now chief of police. I know what it takes to keep our neighborhoods safe, support our local police departments, and hold the sheriff's office to the highest standards. As your sheriff, I'll focus on strong training, crime prevention, and real partnerships with the communities we serve. I'm Stephen Flores. I'm ready to be a working sheriff you can trust, and I approve this message.
State Senator Dan Darnell was supposed to be different. He promised to fight for Hoosier families and stand with President Trump. He failed. Darnell voted against President Trump's agenda in Washington. That hurt Hoosier families, and he voted to let a Chinese company buy Hoosier farmland, putting China before us. Dan Darnell, opposing Trump, voting like a liberal, letting us down. A disgrace.
President Trump has endorsed conservative Trevor DeVries for state senate, a real Republican who will fight for Hoosier values. Trevor DeVries will stand with Trump, protect Hoosier farmland from China, defeat the liberal agenda, and never let you down. A true America First conservative. The right choice for Indiana. Endorsed by Trump, Trevor DeVries for state senate. Election day is May 5th. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
The mission of North Township is simple: help those in need. But today, most receive nothing. The number of people assisted has dropped from 2,200 to 1,800. We can do better. Social event profits don't reach the poor. I'll change that without raising taxes. We need resources, retraining, and a renewed focus on results. As a veteran, entrepreneur, and economist, I bring the experience to deliver. I'm asking for your trust and your vote, paid for by the committee to elect Dr. Jess Ortiz.
My name is Jason Gore, and I'm asking for your vote to be Lake County's next sheriff. I was born, raised, started the family, and worked my nearly 30-year career in law enforcement, both as a local police officer and as an ATF agent, all here in Lake County. I promise to lead differently, restore the public's trust in the Sheriff's Department, and to build a world-class police organization that is focused on serving you. In this election, Lake County residents have a different choice.
State Senator Dan Darnell was supposed to be different. He promised to fight for Hoosier families and stand with President Trump. He failed. Darnell voted against President Trump's agenda in Washington. That hurt Hoosier families, and he voted to let a Chinese company buy Hoosier farmland, putting China before us. Dan Darnell, opposing Trump, voting like a liberal, letting us down. A disgrace.
President Trump has endorsed conservative Trevor DeVries for state senate, a real Republican who will fight for Hoosier values. Trevor DeVries will stand with Trump, protect Hoosier farmland from China, defeat the liberal agenda, and never let you down. A true America First conservative. The right choice for Indiana. Endorsed by Trump, Trevor DeVries for state senate. Election day is May 5th. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Welcome back to WJOB. We're going to do traffic and weather real quick because I have a really cool announcement from the town of Dyer, and I'm just going to co-opt the airwaves to do that.
Okay.
Well, I was excited.
You want to do traffic?
No, I do not want to.
Okay, then let me do traffic, and then he'll do weather, and then we'll get out of your way. Okay, taking a quick look at traffic. Here in Indiana, everything still looking good. 8094, 65, Skyway, Toll Road, everything looking great. On the Illinois side, Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan looking good. Dan Ryan getting a little bit lighter. So if you're leaving now, you should have no problem getting to the city. A little slow down, after the Skyway and into the circle. Other than that, looking good. 294, 394, all the 94s looking good. Everything else looking good in Illinois. How about weather?
All right. The weather is looking good. It's going to be a high of 74 and a real feel of 73. The skies right now are looking pretty clear, but we should get some thunderstorm warnings later in the day. And then for the weekend, the temperature will drop, but it will dry. It will get drier. Sorry, I don't know what the proper word for that is.
It'll dry out.
It'll dry out, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So it'll be a high of 54 and a real feel of 55. It'll be sunny and partially cloudy, but nothing more. And then Sunday will be much of the same as far as it being partially cloudy, but the temperature will rise with a high of 68 and a real feel of 71. That's your weather.
Bob is going to switch hats.
Switching hats.
And he's got an announcement to make.
I'm going to play Dyer Town Councilman here for a second. Thanks for having me on, Chuck. I guess that's
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
So every year, Dyer has our Summerfest. It is the same weekend, the weekend before Father's Day, every single year. Now, 35 years, you don't need to get out of frame, Chuck, because you're helping out with this.
Don't say that.
Anybody who's going up and down Calumet Avenue right now sees our amphitheater, band shell, pavilion. We're still working on the name. I personally like pavilion, but we'll see what the council says on that. This is going to be, in my estimation, the biggest Summerfest that we've had yet. For years, it alternated, and Chuck's a former Dyer resident. You remember when we switched from Northgate Park to Pheasant Hills, we brought the fest back and forth for a number of years. It lived in Pheasant Hills for quite a long time. And then we brought it over to Central Park a few years ago. And each year it is getting bigger and better. Now we've got this new pavilion facility. And with some amazing partnerships with Wintrust Bank and the Hard Rock Casino, we've been able to we've got the funds now where we can bring in some bigger acts. So on Thursday, we've got Maggie Speaks and Trippin' Billy's. Huge fan of both of those guys. Friday is Naughty and Mr. Funnyman. Saturday is Sounds of Santana, Blues Brothers Band, Nate Ventrelli, and the guy who I'm really excited to bring on is Gareth. Now, Gareth is a guy, if you're on social media, I have zero doubt that you have heard his version of a half a dozen different songs. And this guy, he's from Northern Ireland. He just moved to Nashville. In November, he made his Grand Ole Opry debut. He's got 10 million Spotify streams a month. So he's going to cap off our Saturday at Gareth. Looking forward to that. Sunday is going to be our big day. We've got Who Dat Dare, Gold Dust Dreams, Shagadelics, and all these concerts are free. To finish off the Dyer Summerfest this year with fireworks, we are bringing in the Verve Pipe.
The Verve Pipe. And if we weren't on YouTube, we'd play some clips. So
I was going to say, we were talking about this. We need to play the Freshman now, but we can't because
I was going to hum, but I play the harmonica.
I truly think even humming will get us a band on YouTube.
Bob, I think if you do like a 3-second
well, you'd have to create. We were going to have you create like a 3-second montage. It's like blip, 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 blip. Yeah, you can play 3 seconds of everything.
Just do a cover album for 3 seconds. And I think we're fine.
Even the cover albums get dinged. But so we've got Gareth and the Verve Pipe coming in. We've got an amazing fireworks show. We're going to do something a little extra special this year for the 250th anniversary of the country.
Remind people of the dates.
So the Summerfest this year, Dyer's 35th annual Summerfest, is going to be June 11th to June 14th, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Free music each night. We're going to have the carnival's going to be there. Go follow the Town of Dyer on Facebook if you don't already. As we get closer, we will roll out the dates and times for the wristband hours, who all the different sponsors are, food and games, a ton of vendors. I think we have 35 food vendors, and the committee, they tried, a guy named Tony Ramirez tried really hard to, there's not going to be like, hey, you've got 30 vendors and 20 of them are pizza vendors. We've got a really good variety. There's a lot going on that weekend. We've got a family-friendly beer garden, and by that I mean, if that's your persuasion, you can. We fence the whole thing off. You can grab a beer. You can walk around the carnival, listen to some good music. Again, we've got Gareth on Saturday night and the Verve Pipe on Sunday night.
So we should clarify though, because a lot of WJLB listeners, the regular callers, they are used to getting VIP passes to events like this. They criticize certain mayors for 360 days out of the year, and then they accept a VIP pass for the other 5 days. Can you clarify you will not be doing VIP passes for the people that criticize you, or even in our case, like your friend? Nobody's getting VIP passes. Don't bother asking.
No, we're not doing anything like that. It is the entire weekend. It's free to park, free to show up. Come on out. We're going to have tents with tables and chairs. We encourage you to bring your own lawn chairs or blankets, sit out front, and enjoy a weekend of really good music. And if we could all collectively just knock on wood that the weather is going to help us out on that day.
But the only reason I bring that up is because Mad Mac will try to sell VIP passes to the Dyer Summerfest. Those are not valid. Do not accept and do not pay Mad Mac $50 for VIP tickets. They are fake. Just throwing it out there.
They absolutely are fake. We're not doing any of those. Like I said, it's a free weekend, free parking, free concerts.
And if he offers to give you a ride in the back of his van to Summerfest, do not accept.
Do not do that. But again, we couldn't do this without. Here's the plug. We couldn't do this without our sponsors in the Wind Trust. Hard Rock Casino really stepped up to bat. We saw. We brought them out there and we showed them the vision of what we're looking to do in Central Park between the amphitheater, the new event center that we're going to have there, and really package that as a destination spot. It'll be transformational.
I was going to say, you haven't said transformational
it'll be
yet.
transformational, but they
you
stepped
have
up
to,
and,
considering where it
and,
is.
They believed in the vision too. So again, Wind Trust, Hard Rock Casino. Lithograph's helping us out. Doc Smokehouse is helping us out. We've got plenty more that we're going to be putting out there.
If you will be able to order barbecue, and Brent will bring it right to you. He will walk across the street and bring you barbecue.
He might. They're going to have a trailer there, but it's going to be a great time. And so I think as of right now, we're going to roll that out on all the town socials. And again, it's always been a great weekend. It's a nice, safe place for the family to come and just enjoy, again, music, food, vendors, community. And this year we're stepping up a little bit with a better fireworks show and some really good music coming in.
Well, that'll be fun. And
so that's my bit.
Yeah.
I'll take the councilman hat off. And Dyer, we're going to have a good summer. We've got one caller left here on the morning show.
That's been waiting for like an hour. So
Yep.
I'm very curious to see who this is.
An hour and 9 minutes.
An
and
hour
I'm sorry.
and 9 minutes.
We're going to have to keep it short because we do have a show at 8:30, but we wanted to give you your shot. So with that being said, good morning, caller.
I've just been on hold forever. I've been trying to figure out if they're ever going to let me on the air or not. I guess Bob's talking about the fireworks and stuff, and Chuck's up there. But I don't know what's going on. Hello?
Hello.
It's now Monday.
Oh
You've been on hold for so long. It's now the
air.
Monday show.
Oh my gosh, I know. Well, actually, no. I just called in to say this is a world record because your show wasn't interrupted by the morning guy. Unbelievable. But anyway, no, I just wanted to say, hey, you guys, before the weekend goes out and before everybody starts partying, just make sure that you really research this power-generating plant thing because, I'm sorry, it's an absolute scam and you need to look into it. And Indiana is ground zero for this, okay? Another Chinese lab just put out an open-source AI, and the last time this happened, NVIDIA lost $600 billion in one day, folks. One day. So they have cut this in half, the amount of processing power. Anybody that's in on this is in on it. And I'm just leaving the weekend there. Oh, and I'm sorry, the U.S. Navy is also running a Bitcoin node. I mean, I don't even know where else to start. I know I only got a couple minutes, but I don't know, Chuck. I think next week's going to be one of the most pivoting weeks in the history of finance, considering, the banks are going to get their way and they're going to be able to take your crypto and they're going to be able to invest it on in their ecosystem, and you're not going to be able to say anything about that. But they can't do that with stocks. They can't do that with anything else, but they're going to be able to do it with your crypto, folks. So make sure when your bank comes out with their new crypto app, you follow Griffith and go get one.
So not financial advice, but are you saying we probably should move some of our money into bonds and stuff this week? What are your thoughts?
I'm not saying to move your money into anything until this thing gets sorted out, because I'm sorry, folks, we've got bigger problems. And I'm sorry to be the rain on the parade, because I am looking forward to Dyer Fest, Bob. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome, and I can't wait. I know a bunch of people that are actually talking about it and wanting to go, and it's becoming the most popular festival in the region itself. And congratulations on being the best town to live in, because Dyer is pretty darn solid, folks. I'm sorry.
I
you guys got
appreciate
good
that.
people there. You're welcome. Well, you guys wrap up the show. Talk about the end of it. Just remember, Chinese open source AI. Yeah, power plants. We need them everywhere. Energy data centers, folks. Data centers. Look, follow the money. Follow the money.
Fancy. You waited an hour and 9 minutes for that. You could just have your own. You could have done your own podcast in the time you're on hold. Like, why don't you do podcast? I told him we'll sit in the dark corner. He doesn't have to be on camera. We can do it. We would have so much fun. So just think about that. Okay, so you've got a show. Who's coming up next?
Beyond the Flags.
Beyond the Flags coming up, and then you've got award-winning Veterans Views. So I will not be in on Monday. It will be Bob and the Morning Guy. You'll have to make a graphic for that. I will be back the following week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed hearing the Lieutenant Governor, and I'm sure we'll have him on again very soon because he's just that kind of guy. So I can't wait.
So the quick rundown is roads are good in Indiana. Roads are terrible in Illinois. Weather, it's going to sun up during the day, sundown during night. Lieutenant Governor doubling down on everything now and in the future. We took your calls, and Dyer's going to have an amazing Summerfest on June 11th to 14th.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it as
Good
always.
job, Joe.
That's the only part I'm going to put in the loop. It's just the little summarization at the end.
3